Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody have to do a potty break quick before?
No.
Right.
She's got a water bottle. I'm good.
All right,
Yeah.
so when you're talking to the mic, talking to it like you like a dick.
Oh, yeah.
And here we go.
Need a bigger one.
What you're about to listen to is part of the Podgods Network. If you go to podgodsnetwork.com, you'll find other great shows there too. If you have a problem with this or any other show, please write it in an email. And go fuck yourself. Have a nice day.
This is the podcast my dad warns me about.
The Dicks and Cider Show.
And we are putting our dicks into this week's Circle Jerk of a Conversation. I'm Irv.
I'm Moise.
I'm 6.
And today we have two special guests from the Galactic Netcast Podcast. We have
Brad
and
Anessa.
all right. And you guys aren't the only two from that podcast, right?
No, there's.
who else is in that podcast?
Well, there's Dave, and he's kind of the head of the network that he's built, and then there's Matt, who is he lives in Appleton actually, and he's the non-geek of the group. So it's always interesting to. So they angle there as trying to get him interested in geeky stuff, and he just kind of can be an ass.
So it's like
about
trying
it.
to turn Ice into a Star Wars fan.
Yeah.
No, because I do like Star Wars.
We're joking. Don't be so defensive.
It's
It's just that I prefer Star Trek.
No, it's trying to convince him to read a book.
Yeah,
That's
too.
what it'd be.
That too.
Yeah,
There you
exactly. Now that's if we had something about reading books, then that tried to convince me.
And I even bought him Star Trek-based books, and he wouldn't. No, fuck that.
No, they're my coffee table books.
involves-
They sit there, and hopefully somebody will pick them up someday and actually read.
Yeah, you put your coffee on top of them, right?
Exactly.
He just doesn't want to get a
They're
paper cup.
paperweights.
I hate the term.
shore up the couch.
If I go to a rummage sale and I see a coffee table book, I'm hoping there's a coffee ring on top because it is not a coffee table book unless you put the
Exactly.
coffee ring on
It's
it.
not official. It's not legit until you get a coffee stain on it.
So with your podcast, so you guys don't are not all like us, where we sit in the same room all the time and talk. You guys are kind of remote, right?
Well, yeah. When we started out, Anessa was living in Texas, and then I, live in Weston, Wisconsin, and Dave was living in Wausau.
Okay.
And then Dave got a gig. He works in radio, or he worked in radio, and then he got a job in Cider. Waterloo. Yeah, that's right, Waterloo, Iowa.
Waterloo!
Yep.
It's a Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, right?
Waterloo?
Waterloo.
Oh, the water
Sorry,
park.
man.
Water park. Okay.
Waterloos.
Okay.
And then he.
Yeah, excellent.
You heard that, didn't you?
Yeah, I did.
Yes. They're actually seriously working on making a sequel to that film.
Yeah, third.
Yeah, I heard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And,
Too bad George Clooney ain't in there.
Well,
It would have been nice. It would have been nice.
Rufus.
he was kind of pissed about the whole thing, and then finally came back on board on the second one. That was kind of weird.
Weird. Right?
Um, And then Dave ended up. Their radio station got bought out by another group, and they decided to make some changes and change the format of the station, and Dave lost his job. And in the meantime, he had kind of been talking with somebody, and they struck up a relationship, kind of like how Anessa and I did. And she lives in Canada. So now Dave is married and lives in Canada. So now when we do the show, he's, 2 hours? Or an hour ahead of us.
Okay.
And Anessa moved from Texas to Wisconsin.
So she went from an hour behind.
So how
Same time
No, she
zone.
was in the
Same time
same
zone.
So how do you like the weather here in
Yeah.
Wisconsin?
Oh, it's great so
Is
far.
it? Good.
It's really nice not having to worry about tornadoes when it rains.
Ain't that nice? We do get them. We do get
You
them,
do
and not
get 'em,
this far
but
north.
not-
Not very often.
No
It's
pun
bad.
intended, but we're at the ass end of the alley.
Yeah, we are at the
And
very
we're at
end.
the butt. So.
Actually, Big Flats is probably really the end. we do now and then it happened, but
I heard
Not
Madison
very
just
often.
got ripped through.
yeah, they got ripped through the
Yeah,
other
Eau
day.
Claire got hit
Nailed,
last
yeah.
week, and yeah,
We get
it was
hit.
ugly.
It's just not as much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and
And it's nice. It's refreshing.
Yeah.
yeah, we were talking earlier how she was at the head, at the beginning of Tornado
Yeah,
Alley,
and we're at
before.
the ass end.
Yeah.
You just went from the head of the centipede to the ass of the centipede.
Yeah.
It's gross either way.
Yeah.
Pretty
Can't really
much.
avoid it.
No.
But
You guys are all over the place then. I mean, you guys are
Yeah.
remotely tapping in from everywhere.
yeah, and like you guys, we use Google Hangouts to try to kind of get everybody
Yeah.
together in one place, and we do a couple of shows. This other show that we just started, and we just had our 14th episode, is the Sci-Fi Geeks Club.
Which is part of, is it like a Galactic Netcast Presents?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah. So everything is under the Galactic Netcast banner, kind of
Right.
like the Pod Gods
Yeah,
Network is
yeah,
for
yeah.
you,
Right,
except these
right.
are other shows under the Galactic Netcast banner. And with the Sci-Fi Geeks Club, we get different guests that do or are a part of sci-fi somehow.
Mhm.
We've had our last guest was really interesting, Brian Brushwood, who does Scam School, and he's done some other stuff too. And he's more like a magician entertainer, but turns out he's huge into sci-fi.
Mhm.
And he turned us on to a book that Anessa just picked up for the both of us, which is
book?
called The Martian.
Yeah.
It's going to be a movie, actually. And yeah.
Oh, by the way, that's a gift.
That's
That's a
yeah.
gift from us to you.
Thank you. It's we're building a studio in our house, and it's called the Nerdatorium.
Nerdatorium, kind of like the Purple Podcast room we have here,
What do
right?
you call it? Purple
And-
Podcast Pad.
Well, yeah, the Purple Guy.
Nice.
Thanks to my wife.
So
Yeah.
cool. We will definitely add this. We'll probably want you guys to sign this too.
Oh, we'll do it.
And
Sure.
we'll put that up in the Nerdatorium when we have it finished.
Nerdatorium. I like that.
He's not-
I like that so much.
It sounds perverted.
Well,
It does.
It really
Nerdatorium. Oh,
Kind-
I
kind
said
of-
tertium. I said tertium. I didn't mean it that way.
Army.
The Marmy.
Belly button.
And-
It's better than a masturbatorium.
Yeah.
Masturbatory.
That's this right here.
Yeah, exactly.
And actually, the name the Nerdatorium came from my ex-wife's boyfriend. Actually, he's got like a huge collection of stuff that he calls a Nerdatorium, and I had my man cave, and now that Anessa's here, I really don't have a man
Now
cave.
it's going to be more of the.
What's the office / now Nerdatorium,
Yeah.
which is going to be our display of collection of stuff that
Sure,
we've collected
sure.
that is geeky
Yeah.
and kind of related to sci-fi and
Not
stuff
like
that
this
we
room isn't
enjoy.
geeky enough. I mean, we got.
Oh God, we got everything in here. I
No,
mean,
this is awesome. You got
we
the
have-
Millennium Falcon up
Oh,
there.
you like that?
That's-
Yeah, we got everything in here. We even got some things for Star Trek in here. We've got what?
It's geeky.
It's yeah.
If you don't like movies
Shit.
and fucking toys.
We even got an aroused skeleton from the Evil Dead. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah,
The
exactly.
original Evil
It's
Dead.
got a dick in it. I don't know what
Mogwai.
skeleton has an erection.
Yeah, but you notice though, there's a lot more Star Wars stuff in here than
Star Trek.
stuff.
Fuck Star Trek.
Well, you got your one. You got your one poster up.
Yeah, that's probably the only thing I can really get in here. You know?
It's just, yeah.
It's like a collaborative thing
Well,
between him and I.
it's still fun to kind of build that for yourself because you guys really put forth an effort with what you're doing when
Right.
it comes to podcasting.
Yeah, and when I started, it was Dave was doing like small shorts, sort of videos, and I think it was more YouTube stuff that he was doing, like Sci-Fi Minute or something like
It was
that.
like review type stuff.
Yeah, just like news of sci-fi movies and things that were coming out. And he had done a podcast. I can't remember the name of it at the time. And then he wanted to do something with aliens, and put it out on Twitter or on Facebook. He's like, "Hey, Facebook friends, I'm looking to do another show about aliens. Is anybody interested?" And I went, "I like comic books, but well, fuck it. I'll give that a try. Why not?"
Exactly.
Where can this go?
And
Yeah.
for me, it was just I think the first episode I had a webcam that had a microphone on it, and it sounded shitty, but whatever. It was different. And now that time has gone on, and we're gonna put the Nerdatorium studio together. I bought a really expensive sound card for the computer, and I think I dropped like $800 on equipment. And
It goes quick.
And I went with the scissor arm mic stands.
I was talking about doing that.
The ones that hang down,
that.
right?
Oh no, it's just somewhere where you can
actually,
sit back
well,
and be like.
Oh, they're
Actually,
mounted up and they come
They're
down.
mounted in and come into.
And it has like you can either do like the straight mount, or they have a riser arm, so it even comes up even higher.
Yeah.
So like
So if you really wanted to,
monitors.
sit back
And bring it back and be more
you have
relaxed
the
while
mic
you're
right
doing
in
it
your
instead
face,
of.
you
you know, like every other one of the guests that we have that don't realize you have to suck the mic like a dick.
That's
Yeah.
probably why they don't do it, because you make them scared like that.
Or you could lean back in your chair, rub one out, whatever.
Yeah.
It's like,
The mic in
I don't know
place,
if I
whatever.
really want to do that.
They all do. They all do.
So it's kind of like, for me, I can't say for Anessa, but for me it just became something really interesting to do, and the more I did it, the more I wanted to invest more into it. And it's
Same here.
It's like I've given up, and I was a huge comic book nerd, and I spent, I've got, oh Christ, what did I say?
26 boxes.
26
and
long boxes times 300, so like 6,000 comic books.
Oh.
So that was my addiction, and now it's become podcasting.
Mm-hmm.
So at least with this, it's like initial investment, and I can just, now it's like creating material to actually podcast about. It's not, dropping, $70 a week or whatever on comic books.
Yeah. When you could.
Yeah,
spend
you got the
$70 a
material.
week on
Just
a new
you
mic.
might as well use it.
Yeah.
Did you ever go back in your archives and just pull out a random box and just grab in there and see what comes out? It's like, oh, I
Are you
remember
talking
this.
about ex-girlfriends?
I'm talking about comic books.
No.
Oh, you got ex-girlfriends in a box
Well,
somewhere?
I say you're gonna grab into a random box. I mean, it'd be my
Oh,
ex-girlfriend.
here, I thought you had.
Grab
Okay, I have her up
I
here.
can,
Let's pull
I can
her
say
out.
for a fact I do not keep ex-girlfriends in boxes.
That's a felony, I believe.
Yeah.
You know, I know this state has a lot of mass murders.
Yeah,
and stuff
there's
in
been
it,
a lot of-
yeah,
but
you don't
Jeffrey
need-
Dahmer, bitch.
Jeez.
Yeah, but I think people prefer suitcases here in the state of
But
Wisconsin.
you didn't
than
use
boxes.
boxes. You used refrigerators.
The land of milk and cereal.
Exactly.
Yes. Vitamin D.
Yeah.
Not skim milk.
God, and my collection is so eclectic. I was having a conversation in one of the shows. It was with Brian Brushwood. It was the episode 14 that we had just done 2 weeks ago.
No, Brian Brushwood.
Brian Brushwood.
Explain him a little bit so people know what you're talking about.
His deal is, and where I first saw him was Scam School, and what he did basically was sort of like Penn and Teller, where it was, here's a trick. I'm going to show you this trick, and it's a bar trick, and and then he'd kind of break it down a little bit, and entertaining as hell, and I really dug his stuff. And then he had branched out into other things.
Oh, is he a local?
No,
he a
he's
local guy that was kind of famous.
No, he's actually, well, he lives in Austin, Texas now.
Okay.
But he's got like a show on Nat Geo now, and just all sorts of crazy stuff. And his studio, we got to see, through video what his studio looks like, and it looks like what radio, like a radio station studio, kind of a setup.
Yeah, but don't you think that like there's a big difference between podcasting and radio studio? I mean, because if you really can't call it podcasting if you want to be a radio. So do we have a radio studio here right now, or do we have a podcast studio?
This is more, and you're talking to a guy that works for a radio company.
I was gonna say,
but is not really doing radio. This is more of a podcast studio setup. This is
kind of
very
independent.
It's very relaxed.
You don't have to pay for the address and all that stuff.
Well, I mean, you don't have to pay for music rights.
Oh, that too.
That's
yeah. We ask for everybody's okay to play the music we play.
yeah.
And you're not just sitting there either watching every word you say too. Granted, you don't have to sit there and drop that.
Well, you're not
bomb every
regulated.
time.
You're
Yeah.
not regulated by the
You don't have to
FCC
sit there and
at
worry
all.
about it.
Exactly.
Well,
Shut the fuck up, con.
And
Right, exactly.
and what's funny
Yeah, we
is,
don't have one of those 5-second delay beep buttons anywhere.
Because
Gotta hit
God
the damn
knows
thing.
you would use it every time I talk.
well,
Right.
One of
Right.
You can hold it down.
one of the benefits of working for the radio station is that I work for Midwest Communications, and they own. We just bought some more stations. It becomes official in fall.
It's got to be 3/4 of the state, though.
Well,
they're broadcasting.
we've got stations in Wisconsin, Illinois,
Oh, really?
Indiana.
Wow.
We just bought stations in Nashville, Tennessee. We've got stations in Fargo, North Dakota, Sioux Falls, South Dakota. So, I mean, we've got about 75 stations now. and I talked to my boss, and I'm like, hey, I do a few shows. Can we put these on the websites? And the only stipulation is if there's cursing, we just need to put the 1,000 kilohertz tone over it, and that's fine. So that's been kind of cool too. Is we've got, for as much as Google searches our radio station sites, that's kind of given us a little bit more exposure for our stuff too. So that's kind of worked out.
That's got to be a benefit there.
Yeah, it is.
It's really hard for us to keep it clean, though.
Well,
no, it isn't.
Yeah,
no, it isn't.
Yeah,
It can be done.
Between the two of us,
we just had Jack's Secret in here, and we were pretty clean.
we were all right. Yeah.
but I mean, for the type of show you're doing, I mean, if you come right out and you're like your declaration statement, you put your dicks in for a circle jerk of a conversation,
That one.
you're in
that
for
one.
a ride.
Yeah.
You bought the tickets.
Yeah, if you're listening,
Nut it up.
you're going for it.
Yeah.
Aiden, take him out of here. It's distracting. All right. That's the difference between radio and podcast, right there.
You won't have random pets
You have
coming in.
10-year-olds that don't listen.
Exactly.
Well, the cool thing about your podcast, so and I was listening to the last one, which was part of the subcategory podcast, where it was number 14 of your. It was kind of presents.
Yep.
And I was talking earlier upstairs, is you guys kind of do it like a board of directors. You kind of review the minutes from before, and you have one guy that kind of directs everything that's going on.
Yeah, that was.
You mean the producer?
He's kind of directing.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting in Dave's vision for that show, which I don't think any of us really understood going in.
No, all we knew was that we were going to be talking about sci-fi. We
Okay.
didn't know in what format or anything like that. And so he just said, hey guys, bring a story to the table and we'll talk about it.
Yeah.
And that's all we had to go by.
And for us, when we used to do show prep, it was you'd have your people in the show. So say it was like Alien Invasion, which is Dave, Anessa, and myself.
Mm-hmm.
It was one person would pick all 3 stories and we would talk about them.
Yeah.
And then it morphed into you bring your own story, and then we share a Google Doc, and we paste everything in there.
Okay. So
And so then
everybody
we're all
sees it.
looking at the same show
Yeah.
prep, and we know what we're going to be talking about and kind of see an overall format, which kind of helps tighten up the show a little bit
Yeah.
for what we're trying to do. And when we went into this, it was now with Sci-Fi Geeks Club, it's now everybody's doing their own story, but now we've got an outside person who, it could be an author, it could be Jackie Hearn does.
You guys have had some pretty cool guests.
We've had
on
some
that
really
show.
interesting guests.
I mean,
and
you're pulling in people that most people would love to talk about
there's
or talk to.
There's somebody that we're looking at getting next week that AJ. Well, and he's a show presenter for the Canadian Science Channel.
Oh.
How the fuck
So-
can you not be happy with what you're doing?
Yeah, and that's what's really kind of been interesting about this is we ended up talking with Gary Yap, who is an Emmy nominee for his work that he's done.
That
with-
would just make any geek wet their pants.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
It'd be
With
like
The
you talking to
Simpsons
Picard
and-
or
Yeah.
No, you mean Patrick Stewart.
Yeah, that's what I said, fucker.
but
Hey, I know the
Okay,
difference
okay.
between reality
It was-
and actuality.
I don't know. Sometimes when you talk, you're way off.
Oh, come on.
What was interesting about that is I had no clue who this guy was, but Matt's like, well, he and his wife got married, and well, obviously, but one of he's like a huge Simpsons fan, huge, and Gary Yap has this charity that he does where he will do commission work,
Mhm.
and he will take that money and put it towards a cancer, it's like the last podcast.fm, I think it is.
.com, I thought.
And all that money is going towards cancer research. So what he's doing is taking that money, and Matt, huge Simpsons fan, contacted him and got this piece made, and it took about 6 months to get because he's got like this huge backlog. And then Matt's like, hey Gary, would you be interested in doing this thing? And Gary's like, oh God, yeah. And that was just so surreal. That was like the first time I went, holy fuck, you know, we're starting to pull in some bigger name people and some really interesting stuff.
Well, it's good for the radio too, because if you guys are affiliated with a radio station, people are going to really want to listen to that stuff. Otherwise, you got people that have to really search those people. Because I know when I go to iTunes and I listen to podcasts, sometimes, like I'll say Ralphie May, because I love Ralphie May.
Okay, yep.
All right. But I'll go in and I'll type Ralphie May, and I'll see all the podcasts he's listening to, and then I go listen to all those podcasts.
Sure.
So, I mean, if there's somebody out there that, sci-fi wise, really enjoys that individual, they're going to search that name, and that stuff's going to pop up. Yeah. Which is really nice.
Yeah. And that's what happened with Gary Yap. I think that Matt was also posting that to the Reddit, the subreddit of Simpsons.
Oh, really?
So we got like a bunch of extra views from that. And then because we do everything in Google Hangout, then we get the YouTube channel visits for each of those individual episodes too. And I think that the Gary Yap episode, I think at this point, is still the most watched. It might be. I haven't checked to see if Brian Brushwood's episode has caught up. I know it was
I think it's
pretty
pulling
big.
up. It's a good episode.
Yeah,
it gives it time. It takes time for that stuff.
And everything with podcasting, it's so hard because one thing can hit, and one thing can't, and it doesn't matter what it's the tags. Excuse me. It's the way you name it. Whatever happens, You farting over there? Sorry. It's, there's so much when it comes to podcasting because you don't have that structure when it comes to a radio station. I mean, you know you're going on at 7 o'clock to whatever, or 6 o'clock.
The time is key.
Well, everything is structured because it's business. Yep. But with podcasting, you don't have that. And people are going to say what they want to say.
It's more relaxed.
Do what
it's
more
more,
say.
Yeah.
And then those that are listening are going to listen when they have the time to listen.
Yeah, yep.
Our show's 2.5, 3 hours easy. Most people don't have the time to listen to that. They'll listen for 25, 30 minutes, and then they'll come back a couple days later or a day later and listen on the way to work and stuff like that.
Which is kind of like what Hulu does. It's what they call like time shifting.
Yeah.
It's not when it would be aired. Normally you can watch it, or in this case, listen to it whenever you want to.
More at your convenience than anything else.
Exactly. It's more about
I didn't know
more
Hulu
about the
did
user.
that.
Well, that's
interesting.
essentially what it is. I mean, like, and depending on the rights, and that's one thing that kind of pisses me off about Hulu is if you get Hulu Plus, you're still at the whim of like, I like the show Psych. Right, and they just finished up.
But they don't show all the episodes.
No,
there's some shows that they limit what you can do.
Well, they'll limit, and this is not Hulu's deal. This is the companies that own the shows, the rights to the shows. Yeah. Like right now, you cannot, and they're doing Warehouse 13's final season. And Warehouse 13, for those that don't know, it's kind of like sci-fi steampunk. Indiana Jones in the warehouse. It's like all the artifacts.
What's in the warehouse that Indiana Jones walked into?
Basically, that's it. And they're the caretakers of the warehouse.
All the things that the government decided to put away because they just couldn't figure it out.
It's too dangerous. And unfortunately, Hulu is not showing this last season, and that's because Sci-Fi has decided, well,
not to do that.
Fuck you. You're not going to watch it unless you have a cable. Like if you have Time Warner Cable or Charter or whatever, and you type in your account information for them to verify that, then they'll let you watch it. Which, at this point, that's really stupid because people, and I'm one. I know Anessa is that way too. We get Charter internet or the internet provider, but not cable because it's
really
it's an expensive waste of time.
The licensing program with it. When you look at iTunes and you pay for something to play, what you're actually paying for. What you're actually paying for is the right to play it on your iTunes capable machine. So if I have an iPad or an iPhone, I'm not paying that $29.99 to watch that TV show for one season on forever. I'm paying for it to be on the equipment that I have that's registered.
Because the rights for things are treated differently, and I can tell you this.
Which is in the read agreement.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
who reads that?
Just like, well, and because I work in radio and with the stuff I do in the web, I have to do a lot of copyright stuff, dealing with violations and whatnot. And it's interesting how the rights for what is played in different formats are completely different. So like if you want the right to put something and have it available as a podcast, you have to pay entirely different fees and an entirely different fee structure to have the rights to use that, because you're essentially possessing it.
Right.
Whereas if you're listening to it on the radio station is paying for the rights to just play it once, and the user doesn't have to pay for that.
But isn't there a fee with the radio every time they play it?
Yes.
Pay a certain percentage of every time they play it.
Now, when it comes
it's weird
to
that they record that every time they play that goes out to somebody else.
Well, yeah. I don't think it's necessarily weird. That's just kind of been the way it's always been done. Now, when you get to streaming music is completely different. Instead of the fee structure
so like
being
Spotify.
Well, like for a local I'm sorry, I'll speak normal talk. For a normal top 40 station, like in this area.
Music.
So let's say WIFC, and they play top 40 music.
Yeah.
Okay. They pay the rights to play it over the airwaves. Okay, like they normally do over the airwaves. And then when it comes to streaming, then you have to pay for not only playing the music, but the number of people that have listened to the music.
So like in TuneIn, because you can get WIFC on TuneIn. So every time somebody plays or streams that music, they have to pay for that also.
Yes. So they treat the different mediums differently.
Holy crap!
So yeah, that's why there's a lot of debate in government, and a lot of the lobbies for radio stations are.
So how do you feel about like
ASCAP?
that? A company or a business that goes around and says, "Oh, as a business, you can't play this music unless you pay us a fee monthly."
Well, it's not ASCAP, because ASCAP, BMI,
BMI,
and there's a couple of others. They're looking at they're looking out for the rights of the songwriters and the artists. That's kind of their
we've
job.
Heard from other artists, and we ran into one in La Crosse that said that we don't get nothing for what we pay. And it's those that are like a high class. So you're talking like a Justin Bieber, a Britney Spears, they're getting paid.
Yeah.
But these low names that pay for the BMI monthly or
ASCAP or whatever, they don't get shit out of it.
They aren't getting nothing out of it.
And that's really.
And that's not right, because anybody that is a member of either ASCAP or BMI, they are. But
no.
But you know what I mean. But I mean, if you're going to pay for that service, you should get something out of it. And some of these people aren't. Just because I've got, I sold 1 million records, I'm going to get all this. Here you got somebody that probably didn't even, he's probably got 50 CDs.
60, 70,
that doesn't have a whole lot, 50 different songs or 20 different songs. They don't have shit.
Yeah.
They can't get nothing, but they pay, they pay the same as they pay somebody that has 1 million records sold or something like this, and they should get the,
they should get the royalties back no matter what.
Exactly, no matter what. If anybody buys their CDs or plays their CDs or uses their music, they should be paid just as much as everybody else should be.
And the stuff that I really know more about, I don't know so much about BMI and ASCAP.
Okay.
But like Sound Exchange, they're the organization that oversees the monies for streaming.
Okay.
So when a radio station like WIFC plays the music, we have a service that will track the songs that played and how many people listen to it. So then what we have to do is the accounting department looks at the fee structure, and they gather that information, and they have to report that to Sound Exchange, and then we cut them a check.
That sounds so complicated.
It is very complicated.
It's just somebody else that wants their share.
Well,
that's about what it sounds like.
I mean, we're getting away from the alien sci-fi.
Well, we are a little bit. Sorry about that.
No, it's good, because I want this is
how this works.
It's a circle jerk of a conversation.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
But it's really weird that you can track how many people listen to it when we were always told AM, FM, doesn't matter what it is, radio is free.
Radio is free.
But it really isn't free.
Radio is free to the listener. It's not free for the stations that play it.
Or the sponsors.
It's kind of like this. You have a building, you have licensing, you pay the federal government to have a spot in the electromagnetic spectrum to put out a signal.
Which is that airway.
Yes.
96.7, 103.3,
Yep.
107.9, stuff like
Exactly. So you pay the government for that. You need to pay for the electricity to put that
Power
signal
everything out. Yeah.
You need to pay for the people. You need to pay for the music. You need to pay all
that.
this
That's where
stuff.
sponsors come in play.
Exactly. So that's where you need that
And then
advertising.
in the long run,
sales.
somebody goes, hey, you are playing my stuff. I want you to pay me.
Yep.
So then they find another way to make that payment.
Well, and they have to,
I think it's all worked out.
Well, they
beforehand.
track. They actually, the station will program out. Okay, we're going to play these songs at this time. And occasionally, if they have a call-in show or request show, they'll shuffle that in there too. But they have to keep track of that, and then they have to do the accountancy later on. Okay, we played this song here at this time, and here's
But
your money.
it's all pre-programmed, so there's codes and identification numbers of some sort that are traveling across to somebody that gathers that information.
Yeah. And then it's kind of that way
so
for
radio's
streaming.
the atypical Metallica of Napster.
No, it's the typical. No, that's the typical.
But nobody heard what the radio was doing compared to what Metallica said. Hey, you're taking my music for nothing. And
yeah, it's kind of weird, especially now with litigation that's going on with.
Fucking law fucks everything up.
But see, that's what happened early.
sorry.
That's what happened early when they started streaming music on computers.
Yeah, it got.
There
really
was the regulations just went all over the place. They couldn't regulate it fast enough. They couldn't get the laws in there fast enough to control it. And then all of a sudden, oh, we got you because you downloaded 700 songs. Now we're going to put your ass in jail. And you're going to pay fines. Why? Because they had no control of these people doing this. So they had to nab these people that downloaded and streamed hundreds of thousands
at that
of
time there was no
films.
streaming, but
well, no, you could share it from one person.
we're
to one
talking
person.
about radio that
But
came back
that was
from
the
the
same
20s,
thing. But
so.
see, that's the same thing as streaming as that they do now. But this was a completely different format.
But
they-
radio's
but
been
the
around for a lot
didn't-
longer.
But the FCC couldn't control it.
No, they couldn't.
So they had to do what they had to do. Then they had to start
Well,
slapping people's hands. They started
Just
finding people.
For clarification, the difference between Napster and streaming is that Napster, somebody downloads it and they possess the song.
Right.
Whereas with the
So-
stream, you're listening to it kind of in
like
real
really,
time.
yes,
It really is no different
but-
than the cloud. Because if I were to take what I have and back it up to the cloud, somebody could grab it from the cloud and pull it out.
Yeah, that's
Exactly.
But
Exactly.
you would
The
have to be
difference with
willing
the
to
cloud
share
is
that.
You have
Yeah.
a password that disconnects you from taking it.
Yes.
But see,
So-
what I was just saying is that like Napster and
Yeah.
BearShare and all these other
But I'm
companies
going
out
farther-
there. But I mean, Napster was one of the
I'm
really
going
first
farther
ones
back.
that shared
I'm
music.
going farther back. You're talking way before you or me. There was
Well, but
radio.
I understand it, but what I'm talking about was when technology started and people could share their music with one another without having to pay for it. And like now, right now, you can stream music and get it, not pay for it. Because you can stream off of radio shows, you can stream off of whatever else. But see, the regulations for streaming is a little differently than what they did then. But that was like the early.
but
what we have now streaming.
What it started out as I've got a folder and I'm going to give you access to that folder.
I understand
that. Folder
that,
has
but-
all this stuff in it, and I want you to pull from it.
But,
So I gave you the password and her the password and him the password, and everybody could pull from there. That's where Napster came from.
yeah, but what I was
everybody
saying,
wants to pull from the same point of view. There was another software program other than Napster out there, and I can't
There's
remember the name.
LimeWire.
LimeWire.
Yeah, I used to have that one.
LimeWire, where if you
I had
put it
Napster.
into your computer, it uploaded to a folder that was capable for everybody to grab from it. So
no, you were able.
somebody-
you were allowed access to
somebody
all
could put in
your
the term
friends that you were on with
if you
to
had
have
password,
access
but
to that
somebody
file
could put in the
and
term
that file
Pearl
only. You
Jam,
got to
and they could
understand
pull
how
in
it works.
all these songs that everybody had for the term Pearl Jam.
I remember
Yeah,
having
but-
cassette tapes when I was younger and recording it right off
Yeah,
the
but see,
radio
yeah,
station.
what I was-
Remember what we recorded though?
But Irv, what I was trying to say is that back then they had no control. They had no laws.
But that's
they
the problem.
had nothing.
Yeah.
So when it got to be really
Overwhelming.
If they were losing a lot of
more or
money,
less,
so they better do it.
That's when
Overwhelming.
I mean you got all the bands and everything else. They're losing money. I mean, you got 1,800 people out there sharing their songs, their albums, and I ain't getting money for it.
Yeah.
And that's when everything started hitting the fucking fan. That's
Yeah,
where
it's
that's where-
Metallica of it all.
That's what I mean. But that's when the innocent people
Yeah.
that didn't think they were doing anything wrong are now being put in jail hundreds of thousands of dollars a fine because they didn't think they were doing anything
I understand
wrong.
an artist wanting to get their money that day.
But see, now with
Let
streaming.
him talk.
Well, I wasn't finished though.
Yeah, let him talk.
I wasn't finished though. See, that's why I don't enjoy sometimes when you interrupt me. But see, what I'm saying is that when that happened, that was when chaos happened. Now you have streaming today, as we know it, as how we can get our music now. They are a lot more control on how this is being done, and it's regulated a lot better than what that is. So you're not going to get people accidentally streaming something that didn't pay for it because it's being controlled easily.
But in a community like ours, I've got 5,700 CDs sitting out there. You walk around the corner, I got a whole wall of
Yeah,
CDs.
but nobody can access them.
Yeah, they can. I can hand it to you and say,
No, I'm talking about nobody can just access them anytime they want.
Very true, but
okay.
I can go, hey,
there's control there.
Yeah.
That's how you can control that.
Who other than me has the last concert live of Stevie Ray Vaughan at Alpine Valley 30 minutes before he died?
You and probably a couple hundred people. Maybe.
Oh, I've got it. So I'm gonna give it to you and her and him and him and him and we've got it.
And I think
there's
that
a ring
really
around
comes
everything.
down to accessibility.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But the thing is you bought the copy, so you already paid
I
your
didn't
money.
buy a copy. I got a bootleg copy.
Well, whatever. somebody ended up buying it.
But the problem is bootleg.
Yeah.
And everybody wants to pay for that price.
I don't think you can totally
you gotta
control
remember,
all that either.
And now being the
You
devil's
can't control
advocate,
it all.
You can't control
but
it
being the devil's advocate that I am, everybody that went to that concert paid for that at that moment. So they got paid.
So does that have to be the devil's advocate for that?
Because I've got a
You
copy
just were
of
sneakier
Even
than
though I
everybody else
wasn't-
to get
he's
it bootleg.
saying that he paid the ticket price to see the show, and now
Right.
he's got an actual
Yeah,
copy
exactly,
of the
exactly.
song.
And
You were
that's
smarter-
where ASCAP
you were
and BMI
smarter than
come
the
into
average
play.
bear.
It's because if I walk into a coffee shop and I've got my laptop or I've got my cell phone and I'm sitting there and I'm writing, you're going to talk, don't worry.
Poor Anessa.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, right. No.
But if I walk into a coffee shop and I've got my laptop and I've got it at mass volume, that coffee shop can be fined and billed from ASCAP because I'm playing music in the coffee shop. And I've learned this from Dawn and Sheldon's coffee shop because I had a big argument with Sheldon going, well, just find out the list of songs that they own and then play everything they don't have. And he goes, oh, it's forever. Nobody knows. And I'm like, there's got to be something. You can play something. And there's no right for you to say that since I paid for the CD, which I've got 5,000 of them, I can't play that at that moment. Now, ASCAP can't fine you for that because I'm playing it. I paid for the rights to play it. I paid for that copyright. That copyright is on that disc. It's on the in sleeve. I can play it. As long as I'm not making money from it, I'm okay
or
with
bootlegging
it.
or
No,
copying.
there's a big difference if I have a
giving.
concert and I go out into the middle of Iverson Park or Schmeekley or anywhere else and I charge you $5 to walk in to the tent that I have and I'm playing this music, there's a big difference.
Yeah. Well,
it's just like movies.
Yeah. ASCAP and BMI, as I recall, are more like representing the songwriters, and I think they do represent the performers. I can't remember who specifically does. I think it's one of them started first. I think it was
ASCAP. ASCAP is the most well-known.
ASCAP is one of the first
well, I
ones,
think
yeah.
I want to say that BMI was started first, and then people got pissed off at BMI because they weren't putting out like the money fast enough to people or something. So another group started ASCAP, and that's why there's these two different organizations that really do the same thing. And then there's CSAC as the other one. And
you know about that, honey.
I wish I had a way to look that up just to make
All right, sorry.
sure.
We'll segue. Anessa, what got you into podcasting?
So enough of this radio
I want to
horse
hear your
shit.
beautiful voice.
Let's hear it.
Yeah. We got to get into the aliens and the sci-fi.
Now let's get into why the real reason you guys are here.
No, we didn't get together to talk about.
No, but
that.
it did segue it in there.
Yeah,
It's all good. It's all good. I'll bring it in. Let's ring it around.
All right. So how I got into podcasting. There is this service called Clout, and they measure a person's online presence as far as what they're influential in, supposedly.
Okay.
So it kind of measures what you're doing, what you like,
what you're doing, what you like, what you're talking about with people, and then I guess based on certain subjects or keywords, it'll rank you as far as like say you're into science fiction,
Mhm.
you like movies, cars, whatever. And then there's these companies that will offer perks to the people that are influential in the certain types of subjects. And it can be anywhere from beta testing an app or a website to gift cards from McDonald's. I've gotten like an IFI memory card.
My mom just won like a ton of shit from Shopko from that. Like camping gear all over the fucking place.
Yeah, and I ended up with like a gift certificate from Amtrak for being influential in travel and just all sorts of random stuff. One of those perks was beta access to a website called Spreecast. If you're, well, I guess you guys, Spreecast, yeah. And it's similar to Google Hangouts where you can have multiple people on camera at a time. But the difference is you can only have up to 4 people on camera at a time. They have the chat incorporated into the same page. You can ask questions, pop them up on screen.
Yeah, just almost like Hangout.
Yeah, it's a lot like Hangout, but everything's in one page, nice and clean for the people that are actually on camera. And you don't have to activate different widgets and whatnot. Especially at the time, they were still testing everything, and they'd roll out a new version probably once every couple weeks or so, just various updates. And I ended up with that perk. One evening, I was bored and decided to see what was on. And there was a podcast called The Alien Invasion. And I wasn't entirely sure if it had to do with actual UFOs, like extraterrestrials,
crossing the border,
or a couple of people complaining about illegal immigrants.
Political, or was it
I'm
real?
like, is it political? Are we talking about people from out of this world or out of the country? That's what I want to know.
There you go.
Lightsabers or green cards?
Yeah.
Exactly. I know, and so
lightsabers or tasers.
Yeah, and so I decided to go ahead and check it out, and they were talking about extraterrestrials. And so at some point they had a question where they couldn't remember what the name of a show or book or something was, and I knew the answer, so I typed it into the chat. And
that's how it
That's how it
always starts.
always starts. And then it became a thing for me to like just go there and bug them and try to make them. Yeah, it's like
I'm smarter than these fuckers.
I enjoyed listening to what they had to say and what they were talking about, and part of the fun was actually just typing in random stupid nonsense into the chat room and making them just like bust out laughing in the middle of their show.
That was usually what I would do because I was more the producer at the beginning.
Okay.
So like if wanted to pull up a link for a show and share that, or like something we were talking about and sharing that or whatever. So I kind of kept my eye on that. So we'd be doing the show, and then she'd put something in there that nobody else could really see unless they were actually watching the show, and I'd bust out laughing. And Dave would make a face like, what's going on?
Well,
I'm like, no, it's that inertia again. She's got something in there. So
yeah.
Crazy coot from Texas.
Crazy person. And so like after this show, I think a couple of shows later, they brought me on camera just to chit chat and whatnot.
Yeah.
And
then Brad brought you on. Be honest.
No, it was Dave.
I think it was Dave.
The structure of the show at that point, when we were using Spreecast early on, was we'd do the show and then we'd do just like a BS section afterwards. And Dave's like, I'm thinking about having Inertia come on. It would just, because she seems pretty cool and doesn't seem like a weirdo. And
well, my username on Spreecast was Inertia Muyines because nobody had. Well, everybody messes up my name. Inertia is the law that an object in motion stays in motion.
Yeah.
And everybody just messes up my name. So I'm like, fine, Inertia, because someone goes, your name sounds a lot like Inertia. I'm like, all right, fine, I'll roll with it. And Muyines.
I'm gonna text you later about what it really means.
Yeah, and so I have a lot of friends that are physicists, physics majors, working on their PhDs, and Muyines is basically the phonetic, spelling of my pronunciation, like my last name in Spanish, because my last name's Mullins.
Okay.
So. Like the cheese, I guess.
Okay.
And I was traveling down in Mexico, and I was flying out of Juarez, and the person was calling my name, and it didn't even click because I've always heard Mullins, and they were saying Muyines. And I'm like, oh wait, that's me, because 2 L's make the Y sound and the I E sound.
Okay.
So yeah, Muyines, and so I'm like, all right, so that's
That's
pretty
how
much
she all came together.
That's how it came
we
together. So they brought on Inertia. And so yeah, like I watched a few shows, and then there was one day where Brad couldn't make it. And Dave was like, well, I still really want to do this show. You've seen it a couple of times. So why don't you come on and fill in for Brad? Like, here's the Google Doc. I'll talk to you about it, and then we'll just go from there. And I'm like, okay, cool. So I filled in for Brad, I think like once or twice. And Dave at the time had another podcast called The Sci-Fi Film School. Mm-hmm. And he would subject Matt, which is the least sci-fi geek person in our group.
Right.
And he would basically subject Matt to these science fiction movies, and he would subject.
Yeah, I hope it wasn't.
Oh, because there's some really
there were some really bad.
Up your ass, fucker.
Some really horrible.
Well, I don't know how else to describe it as far as what Matt had to watch.
I mean, really, when I'm subjected to something, it's not what I want.
So exactly.
What do you really want?
And
that's
so,
what I really like at the end. Sorry.
That's all good. So yeah, like Dave said that he would like for me to join with the Sci-Fi Film School with watching movies, talking about them, and then he gives us a quiz at the end because it's the school.
Oh yeah.
And so I was like, okay, cool.
Which is
so
original.
yeah,
Very unique.
Yeah.
So, you know, we watched the movies, we would talk about them, and then we would get quizzed at the end, and poor Matt always lost. And
he just must not have really cared about that stuff.
You got that big ET finger out.
Ouch. Elliot. So
It's about time you chime in.
I'm listening.
fly on the wall. So yeah, that's how I got my start. Dave brought me into the Sci-Fi Film School. We did some of those, and then for whatever reason, he decided to bring me on to the Alien Invasion.
Yeah, he was telling me, he's like, well, you know, it would be nice to have Anessa come on as a producer of the show, and then you don't have to, you know, go through all the notes and all the stuff on the side. I'm like, oh, okay, whatever, that's fine. I was angry. No, I'm kidding. It was cool because it was just
taken away from me, man.
But it was just really weird. Like the first couple of shows where I didn't have to pay attention to that anymore. I was like, you know, looking at I have two different screens and all this, and I didn't have to do that anymore. I'm like, oh, what the fuck do I do now? You know, I'm paying attention to one thing and actually listening to the show we're doing. That's weird.
Yeah, and Dave was like, okay, you're just going to keep an eye on the notes, and you're just going to say random crap like your opinion, and that's it.
You wear a dress, and you should be in the corner.
I look good in dress. No, I really don't.
So yeah,
you can wear a kilt. That's more mannish.
Yeah, there you go.
But still a dress.
I had a kilt actually. I had to wear one for a friend's wedding. They did like a period sort of wedding. You know, Mark and Shayna.
Really?
Yeah, they did well, he's Scottish descent.
Scottish descent, yeah.
With the last name of Woolridge.
Woolridge, yeah.
And so they did a kind of a period Scottish type wedding. So all the groomsmen had to wear kilts. And the way that they did the kilt, we're so on task here. The way they did the kilt was they like gathered like a fuck ton of material, and then we had like a size 44 belt. You wrap the belt around there, you clip the belt on, and boom, you had the kilt.
Yeah. Yep. It was recycled, reused material.
Yeah, essentially. Yeah. It was kind of an interesting
the way
deal.
The real Scotties used to do it. They had what they had, and they
See, but I wore silk boxers under.
I was gonna say, you guys have your kickstands?
No. I couldn't handle the full breeze on the junk, so I wore the silk.
How could you not? Man, that's so cool in this Wisconsin.
No, you got wool rubbing up against your junk. That ain't nice.
That is not nice.
It's like having a Brillo pad strapped.
That's where the
sack.
euphemism for guys scratching their balls came from.
Yeah, but in the middle of the wedding, I didn't want to hike up my.
I would have.
We're gathered here today to. Oh God, this itch is terrible.
I know that group of people. I think they would have went for it.
So, but anyway.
So you guys kind of went through that, you know. Well, you kind of got through the sci-fi alien type of stuff. Now, you said you weren't really an alien type of guy, so it was just one of those things like, oh, fuck it, let's do it.
Yeah, it really was. And the interesting thing, though, too, is it kind of segues to, like, you know, there's different alien races in comic books, and that, you know, sometimes we were doing, and we'll probably get back to it again, where we were picking an alien race of the week.
Okay.
And when it became my turn, because everybody would get a turn to pick one, is I would pick one from comics. And then we would talk about, comic book aspect of that. And because the show, Alien Invasion, and trying to explain to people, well, you guys, totally believe in aliens or what? Or, what do you... Well, it's really...
It can end real quick.
It's one of those things where it's really kind of a celebration of sci-fi. It's and talking about actual science stories or laughing about a Weekly World bullshit news story that they have in there.
Somebody had an alien crawl out of their ass or something.
Well, yeah. Or we had a story...
Looks like
what was that story where, some dude had, 4 small aliens in his head?
Oh, yeah, there was a CEO...
Wait, hold on, I'm going to look this up.
Weekly World News, that's where I found it.
What is this, Men in Black or something? Where he's
Yeah, well, because essentially,
a family of 4
living in his head, and apparently this family of 4 was really aggressive, and they made all sorts of business decisions, and this guy would go and barge in on other companies' business meetings. And normally the guy is really passive and not very aggressive in his business dealings, and they figured out that he had this family of 4 living in his head, and so they, quote, exorcised the family of 4 from his head.
And the photo from this is so amazing because they've got a photo of these 4 aliens, and it's obviously a bullshit picture because they're in
weeklyworldnews.com.
coffins.
And add in Weekly World News at the end of that.
Okay.
I'm getting
there.
Okay, here we go. The dude's name was Keith Stewart. And
how the fuck did you pull that up on your phone so fast?
I've got the show prep document here. No, it's Weekly World News. Aliens found in hedge fund leader's brain.
Hedge fund. Well, there's a big difference. Hedge fund.
Yes. But the picture is, and you could tell that these things were puppets or dolls that somebody had made, and they're like these little blue-skinned aliens with longish, thin necks and kind of.
You see the fish wire moving around.
Well, they were just hanging out in shoe boxes.
And so they it's okay, we've removed them from his head, and actually, if you go to weeklyworldnews.com under their aliens section, so weeklyworldnews.com/aliens.
We just had the Alien Invasion podcast with that.
Oh.
Or you could go to galacticnetcast.com.
They just had the link there from the podcast.
Yeah, the Weekly World News stuff, you can't really believe.
Oh no, but it's wonderful to talk about.
Yeah,
and
it's funny,
there was a story.
Like Bat Boy or whatever.
Yeah, there was a story where I managed to make Dave really uncomfortable because they were talking about this particular alien race called the Zebans, and they had left these golden balls all over Mexico, and I just kept talking about balls all over Mexico.
Oh, God, that was
now they're like nice round balls in Mexico, and Dave was like, "Oh man."
Were they taco balls?
No, they were just like these weird spheres that were supposed to be some kind of. I can't remember what
they were.
I don't remember what they were.
They were like the size of a ping pong ball or something.
They were just really looked like somebody had gone to Michael's craft
machine.
store, got some cheap gold paint, and sprayed these spheres that they bought from Michael's craft store and just laid them on the ground and took a picture of them. So I mean, it just looked like complete shit, but it was.
Are you kidding me?
Funny. No, it was deadly serious.
Weekly World News what?
Weeklyworldnews.com.
Okay.
It's right there. It's a second
Koi
link.
alien photo. Right,
the world's only reliable news.
Oh, yeah. That's what gets me.
Reliable. Click on the aliens
button, far right,
upper right.
Upper right.
Upper right. There you go.
Upper right. Yep, right there. And it
also,
should be
careful because the Bat Boy video is going to play.
Source that you come from?
Well, we try to pull from different,
shit.
we pull from io9.com to get real stuff, and then we, just science, actual science. Oh, there we go. The second story down. Aliens found in hedge fund leader's brain.
Oh. Yeah. Stop that. You can hear it.
Developers are all about speed.
They've got.
Yeah, they have the autoplay video.
I hate
that's
that.
The one.
Oh, they have a new alien story.
So annoying.
6-inch alien.
I see that.
We'll talk about that.
At the top. I haven't seen that one yet.
All right, alien.
So they've got this nerdy-looking dude, and he had these 4 aliens crammed in his head. If you scroll down a little bit further on the page there, or if you can see,
The 4 aliens?
There's like, there's a cute family of 4. If you scroll down a little bit...
Are they holding a baby?
Yes, they are.
Oh my
It's stupid.
How big are they?
Well, scroll down a little bit further, and then you can see the alien puppets in the boxes I was talking about.
Yeah.
Oh my
So they're
God.
saying that the aliens right there.
Come on.
I know, and just they look like
He's got
horrible.
plaid on.
It's like somebody took like Barbie doll bodies and then put these goofy looking heads on them, and then put them in these, and they're obviously shoe boxes.
Yeah. That's like the
It's like somebody took
right
like
there.
size
Do
12.
you really think
and
aliens are gonna go after the fucking Brady Bunch?
No.
I don't think they're gonna.
That's why we try to like make the show entertaining, but then also educational. So that's why we pull from like IO9 to get
here's
real
a story.
science.
The aliens hail from Gecko on Tar, a tiny planet in the shadow of the larger and better-known planets Akman, Leob, and Aishan.
Yeah.
I don't know how they're better known. I've never heard of them before.
It's Gecko Insurance and
Yep.
Tar.
Yeah.
It's populated by fucking whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, for a family of 4 like that to live in somebody's head, they
Yeah,
got
but that's
to be
typical
They had to be
family.
3 inches tall.
Yeah, but that's directed
smaller.
towards the naive.
Oh,
I
yeah.
know.
They want people to think.
But according to this, they look like they're like 10 inches tall, 12
Yeah.
inches
Oh, no,
tall.
I
How
know.
can you get 4 of them 12 inches tall in somebody's head? I mean, are they all going to be...
Why would you travel so many light years to come live in some douchebag's
Exactly,
head?
right? Right?
especially
Some
a
nerd guy like that.
no, not a
hedge fund.
nerd,
A hedge
a
fund.
hedge fund.
Exactly.
Here's a story about a hedge fund leader. Yeah, whatever. Come on.
Yeah, it's
Stupid.
just goofy. But like in that show where we did that, we had that bullshit story. We had the story of the Avatar movies, the follow-ups that are coming up here from James Cameron's Avatar.
Over the next
You said
20 years.
follow-ups? There's
Well,
gonna be
they're
more than-
sequels.
I heard he
Oh,
wanted to pull in 6 movies.
Yeah, they're looking
Over
like
20
over the
years.
next 20
Yeah.
years they want to continue this Avatar series, which
I would love that. That
Good-
would be
good
pretty
luck.
cool to see.
I mean, I enjoyed the first one, but I didn't realize they were going to do 5 extra ones after that. I know there's a second one.
Yeah, but would you not watch
he,
them?
he had
No, I'd watch
talked,
them.
he had
I would
talked
watch them.
originally about doing the first one and then doing 2 more.
It's a superfood.
Oh yeah, you need to close
Someone
that window.
questions
I know,
They're terrible with
I
that.
couldn't convince a friend of mine to watch it. He goes, I'm not going to watch Smurf porn. I'm sorry. I'm going, Smurf porn?
Well, they're awfully tall to be.
They're really
Smurfs.
tall.
Yeah.
The problem is he was introduced it when he was hitting porn sites. He didn't know about Avatar
see,
until he
there
hit
you
a
go.
porn site. And he's like, "What's Avatar?" And then he went and watched the movie, and he's going, "Oh."
No,
Smurf
he's
porn.
pretty closed-minded, like the one individual you got on there, on your podcast. The one that doesn't want to listen about any sci-fi stuff or anything.
Oh, man.
he'll do it, but
He's trying.
Yeah.
He's a
He's
nerd in
trying.
training.
Yeah.
It's
Nerd in training.
He's a nerd in training.
Yeah,
Yeah.
really, can you?
I don't know. I think
Matt's an
nerdism
interesting
just
dude.
happens. It's just you can't. I
No,
can't.
But
you
that's
know.
a real
Yeah,
vague
and the
term.
thing is, though, is he's interested in some of it,
Mhm.
but it's just, I guess he's never really had the time to explore. And so this
Okay.
kind of gives him an
So his
opportunity.
nerdism is probably trying to come out, but
It's trying to come
still,
out.
It's still
Try to convince me.
Convince
me.
So what you're telling me, he wasn't experimenting enough.
Yes.
Exactly.
He's sexually frustrated.
Science
don't know.
fictionally frustrated.
You know what?
Science
You
fictionally
can go to
frustrated.
fleshlight.com and buy him an alien fleshlight, and then he'll be experienced enough.
I swear to God, he's like the advocate for that thing.
Okay.
I love
Oh, did you
fleshlight.
see
Yeah.
that they have a case for the iPad now?
Yeah, we just talked about that earlier.
Yeah.
We got it on our website. You can go to facebook.com, Dixon Cider Show, and check it out.
What is this now?
I looked at
It's
her
a
and I said,
flashlight that hooks up to
It's
your
an
iPad,
iPad case that has a flashlight
connected
holder,
to it, and it'll
so you
make
can put your flashlight in, and you can
I
video.
said, honey, I could get one of those
You
and
can video
violate
call.
your
Oh, hey,
iPad.
hey, I found something even
Oh
better
my
than that.
God.
Oh, no.
Uh-oh. Should we ring it up?
Should I really bring this up? No, that's not that one.
Oh, no.
It's a different one. It is what it is it's about
It's
a
a circle
$250. It's a
conversation.
$250 machine that actually, when you buy it,
Look like a paper towel holder.
no. Honest to God, this is really cool. It almost looks like
really cool. I'll try it.
Let's just I've got this. What is that? 5x7 notepad?
I thought we were talking about aliens here.
No, I'm talking about this machine. Now, just listen. Shut up. It's about as big as this, but it's got rounded corners.
Oh,
you know
what
about
is
thing.
this? It's a
that
pad of
device.
paper?
It's this machine I'm
All
talking
right, so
about.
we're talking
Okay.
4.5 by 7 inches, 6 inches.
Well, but it has a cord on it. It hooks up to your laptop.
Okay.
Okay, it's supposed to be, and it has software that you download to it.
Not very long.
It's and hardware. The company,
it's hardware, not software.
I don't remember what the device is called, but I'd have to see the video to remember.
Okay.
But it's a toy, but it's an electronic toy, and it's hooked up to this software that you go online and you go to video of you or the male avatar screwing or whatever with the or the woman would be sucking you off or whatever the case may be, and what's happening on screen then goes through the cord into the machine, and the machine simulates what she's doing to you. So you put your penis in it, and there's rubber things in there that.
Oh my God!
I'm honest to God.
This sounds like an accident waiting to happen.
And guess what? They have on the back side of it. They have a little reservoir. You accidentally you put lube in it, and it's supposed to get wet when the woman gets wet. I mean, it does I saw this. I thought, how fucking.
You know what was that? Yeah. Was that John Lube Picard? Set your phasers to come.
Exactly.
Oh God!
But what happens if you click on a video of a man sucking a man's dick? Do you get the whisker feeling on your dick?
I have no idea.
Well, you'll be the first one to find out.
There's only, according to the software, according to the company, there's only like 4 or 5 videos that you can get for free. But with your credit card, you can get more, and you can have different experiences. What those different experiences are, I have no idea.
You can download, no pun intended.
Right, you can download it. Exactly. But the woman that was showing it, they had the outer case off of it, and it looked like 2 miniature treadmills, one on each side, going around, and had a lot of little bumps on it, and she put her finger in there, and the thing was just going wild, nuts and moving everything else. I was like,
it's only
just
for
eat
men,
the fuck
though.
out of your penis. I just didn't. I mean, I had no idea what this thing would do.
It's only for men, though.
I think there's gonna be a lot of emergency room visits with that thing.
Yes, it's only for men. It's only for men. But it just, I mean.
Speaking of experiences, has anybody here had an alien experience?
I've seen some weird lights in the sky. I couldn't pinpoint what they were.
I've never had any alien experiences. I've had people call to ask me what was up in the night sky the night before, but I've never actually seen anything before.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I've never really had an extraterrestrial experience.
My wife and I, when we used to live in the mobile home park in town.
Would you remember if they took you and they wiped your brain?
It all depends upon the acid and the mushrooms.
It was me, Danny, Chase, and Lacey. We were going somewhere. I think we were going to visit somebody and just go watch a movie or something late at night.
You want to chime in?
It was probably like 8 o'clock at night, and we were coming down where we used to live in the mobile home park, and they had the West Junior High School football field. And we got to the stop sign, and all of a sudden I just happened to look up, and I just saw 8 dots just spinning and circling above the fucking football field. And it was going on for a long time. We sat there for like 15 minutes watching this stuff, and it's like, what the fuck is that? We couldn't figure it out. And they were just moving rapid. I mean, spinning and flipping. And right away, you want to say, well, I don't know. I mean, I don't want to think, people are, oh, you're nuts. You think that's aliens going on up there. But I just couldn't figure out what it was. I mean, it was, we were pretty far away, and they were pretty big lights. And from this day on, I don't know what they were.
Huh.
That's what it's called.
Okay, all right.
No, we've seen a couple of we've seen a couple of stories where they've like somebody has this was a what was it? It was a planetarium that was opening up, and their planetarium building kind of looked like a spaceship.
I think it was like in Vancouver.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Fuck
and
the
so,
Canadians.
Blame Canada.
So
I'm just kidding.
They built this planetarium, looks kind of like a spaceship, and what they ended up doing as part of their marketing campaign is they had somebody built a quadcopter, sort of a setup that sort of looked like that building, like a saucer, and flew it over a kid's baseball game. So it was like a little league game.
Yeah.
So you got this sort of stadium sort of packed with a whole bunch of parents and kids and whatever, and they're playing the game, and in this video everybody's like, what the hell's that? And they see this shape, and it's like got these lights rotating on, and it's hovering there, and then it takes off again. And then you come to find out like a week or two later that was part of a PR campaign.
It was a hoax.
Yeah, it was a complete hoax.
Yeah.
And the planetarium came clean, and they said, yep, here's what we did, here's why we did it, and haha, come and visit our planetarium.
I thought it was brilliant. I wish we could have done something like that.
I would I would love to. I want to do that. And there's a Bob and Tom comedian that talked about how he'd get high and he'd get a whole bunch of helium balloons from like the Dollar Tree, and then he would get like candles or like the LED candles, and then attach them to them and just let them go.
Let them go. There's people talk about doing that.
Yeah.
Where they just there's people out there that try to, excuse me. They try to, what would you call it? They act like an alien. They do these things that everybody else, is aware of.
Mm-hmm.
So they go out and they go, oh, I saw an alien floating in the sky, and it's like, no, you really didn't,
Yeah.
But I mean, the one thing that has always bothered me, not really bothered me, but the one thing that has always interested me is the one from Arizona.
Roswell?
No.
You're talking
That's
about fire in the sky.
Triangle in the sky.
Oh,
no, not fire in the sky.
I thought you were talking about that one back in 1975 where the guy got abducted.
No.
That movie was based on a true story.
It was Fire in the Sky. Yeah.
Was it based on Fire in the Sky?
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Where there were lumberjacks or something like that. They did work out in the woods. And
right.
Yep.
They went out there.
All of them got
one got taken,
and one couldn't get out of
there. Actually saw, and everybody thought they were crazy.
This one right here, where they talk about the dots in the sky and
the triangle that's up in the sky, yeah.
And everybody, they saw it. They have recollection of it. No, I watched documentaries.
And you talk about me, I can't speak.
I've been drinking
Isn't
since
fucking
7 o'clock this morning.
That's no
Is that with dachshunds?
Yeah,
exactly.
Little German fucking wieners.
Smoking dog shit, man.
Yeah. That's a Chihuahua.
That's Labrador.
No, that's a true wiener dog.
Yeah. I got a wiener.
All right, go on.
Anyway. I watch a lot of documentaries about the alien type of stuff. And you talk about like the Aztecs and aliens and the
ancient
Egyptians
aliens.
and ancient aliens
I watch
stuff like that. And that weird fucker with his hair all over the fucking place.
Giorgio Tsoukalos.
Giorgio. Yeah. See,
occasionally we'll do the show.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah,
it's aliens. I'm trying to get my hair to stand up a little bit.
No, he's got that stuff. He looks like a lion's mane.
He is, yes.
He's tamed it down a little bit.
But he's a very intelligent guy.
He's fucking funny. He's good. And he knows his shit.
He's the Oriental one, right?
I mean,
no, he's not Oriental.
No, he's the white guy with crazy hair.
Yeah, okay.
Like, I'm not saying it was aliens, but it was aliens.
Oh,
that's Michio Kaku?
Oh, Michio
yeah.
Kaku?
Yeah, that's the one I'm thinking.
Michio Kaku, he's a physicist.
Yes, he's a physicist. Yep. He talks because he's in a lot of those documentaries too for his aspect of it, which I like the way he.
A surprising number of documentaries,
documentaries because they open up your mind as I'm not a non-believer. I believe it's got to be something smarter.
Yeah, there's got to be something out there.
I don't know if there's necessarily something smarter, but I think there's something else out there. And whether or not it's actually come here to Earth, I don't know. Or if we're just hoping and making things up in our minds.
I mean, looking at...
But there has to be life somewhere else, whether it's intelligent or just bacteria.
Especially...
I don't know how many times you've ever ate acid or
eaten
mushrooms, but the galaxy... to me, is a lot bigger than you're thinking.
Well, but if you look at it though, if you look at it with this galaxy, we know of one planet that has life in this galaxy.
Yeah, but we can only ever know what we're ever relative to.
I understand, but I'm just saying,
not necessarily.
If you just think,
very true. You'll never really understand the perspective of anything until you're relative to it.
Yeah.
You're never going to. Honestly, you can imagine.
Yeah, but if there's more galaxies in this.
Whichever is true
there is.
There have to be life on other planets.
Scientists have talked
whether they have the advancements, like we sure hell don't have enough advancements to go from galaxy to one quadrant to another quadrant in this cosmos.
We're barely out of the solar system.
Cosmos. But
and
that's why so much of why I enjoy the Star Trek series is because they're capable of going from the Alpha Quadrant to the Delta Quadrant and all this other stuff, and they meet, whether they're friendly humanoids to the worst kind there is, like the Borg or all.
Most important question we ever ask any of the guests on our podcast is Star Trek or Star Wars.
Which one do you agree with or believe? No. Which ones do you like the most?
What do you like?
I enjoy Star Trek more, quite honestly. Star Wars to me has always been. Star Trek has always been about the science.
Mm-hmm.
It's always been, okay, we want to look at the future, but we want to make it believable to a certain extent. You know, and you get people like Neil deGrasse Tyson or other. I mean, they had people that they like real honest to God physicists, scientists that they consulted on the show. But Star Wars has always been kind of a fantasy space opera, kind of a bullshit. There's no
really space
midichlorians
opera?
really piss people off.
Midichlorians.
Bam! Bang! Woo!
The midichlorians are the real
and that's what
racial fact
of
the whole aspect.
And I think the reason why it pissed people off is at no point in Star Wars was there really science. And at the point where they went, oh, well, here's the explanation, and try to give you something that's kind of scientific, people lost their shit.
So let me reiterate.
Reiterate. Reiterate.
I've had quite a few.
This is your in. You better take advantage
Reiterate.
of it now.
Come on. Don't give me no fucking excuses.
You corrected me. Make fun of what I said.
Yeah.
To go back on what you said though, is for those individuals like you and I and him that look for the purpose or the reality of the subject, we're looking for that Star Trek fact. But Star Wars already gives you the explanation before you even have it. You don't have no explanation. This is the way it is.
Yeah, this is, you know, and they just kind of present it like, well, of course you'd know that because that's just the way it's always been.
This is it.
But with Star Trek...
But if you want to know it, you got to go back and read the books and read the comics.
Well,
but see, Star Trek couldn't do that because everything was...
But they were based off science right off the bat.
Well, but I understand, but they never had books or they never had the books. They never had comic books. They didn't have all this shit to base on. You know, what Star Wars went and came from, because they had the books and everything else, and then they started the movies. Star Trek really didn't have books. I mean, people just didn't sit down. Okay, well, we're gonna come up with a sci-fi show, and we're gonna put it all in a book. You know, Gene Roddenberry wanted a show about sci-fi.
He's having a pants orgasm over there because you agree with it.
I'm just saying because Star Trek is not like Star Wars in how the birth of it.
Well, but there's a difference between the reality. You're right. There's science to it because there's definition and explanation.
It seemed like Roddenberry's writing approach was, you know...
Here's the reality of the subject.
Well, the best lies are wedged between two truths, right?
Very true.
So you can go to the stars, but then you take actual science bits and... You know, here's kind of sort of how we did it, but we're not going to give you everything to it. But here's some stuff that if you did some research, you go, oh, holy shit, that kind of seems really legit.
Here's the reality of it,
But Star Wars was never that way. It was
but it was more about the dark and the light.
But they always said
that's more of like a morality play set in the future or in another place.
But that's where I'm getting
Star
at.
Trek was science.
A difference between that. Star Trek is science, and Star Wars would be more of the conflict between right and wrong.
Yeah, or you know the
because
condition
that's what
of
it is.
the condition of man or whatever you want.
Right or wrong.
Yeah.
What are you going to do in this situation?
Yeah.
Now, if you look at the science of it all, you want to know why it became what it was, or where it came from, or how it is what it is.
Yeah, but in Star Trek though, everything came from here, Earth. It all started here.
Bullshit.
Bullshit.
No, there's explorers, basically. That's all it is. Basically,
but you explore.
Star Wars, where did it start?
On one other planet doesn't derive from Earth.
No, I'm talking...
Not everything derives from Earth.
No, but what I'm saying was Star Trek. Star Trek all started from us humans on this planet. We were intelligent enough to break out of the terrorists,
the Vulcans took pity.
Money, because we were in the very early stage of war. Because the technology.
When Zefram Cochrane fired up the first
the Phoenix,
I've heard the word cock like 3 times already.
Yeah, because Cochrane took actually the plans of Archer's father because they built the Phoenix, and it was all by mistake anyway that the Vulcans actually saw this, and they basically took pity on us because we were in a very, very early stage of warp drive. They came down, helped us out, try to push us in the right direction to get out to the stars and explore. And
then we said, why don't we make a club around this? Exactly. And the United Federation of Planets was started.
Exactly. And that's when different galaxies brought their representatives of their galaxies or their planets together and form the Federation.
And the UFP is essentially like the UN. I mean,
exactly.
there's
like we have it here. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So again, it's kind of like dealing with real life and then having...
So you're taking the reality of what we have here on Earth.
I understand.
But you're taking it to a more larger level. Scale than what it is now. Well, scientifically, yeah. But then you're looking...
The difference, not a difference, but what you guys as Star Trekkies are dealing with is there's always a negative atmosphere out there. There's something like the Klingons. Or somebody that's bad that wants to disrupt your natural.
No matter where you go, there's always going to be bad.
You're going to have
the difference between the
Klingons were like a terrorist group. Yeah. You know, they were born to fight, born to kill. If they were killed while battle, it was honor. You know,
they're almost like the Japanese of the
just galaxy. Like the Japanese or the Chinese, because they have honor in fighting, killing, and being killed.
So I've come up with a conclusion. If you're a Star Trek fan, you're a Republican, and if you're a Star Wars fan, you're a Democrat.
What?
No. I'm joking. They're really. I think that the structure was really just kind of based on what we know, what our experience is as human beings, and then extrapolating that. Okay, if we have alien races, they're going to be kind of like, you know, as a point of reference, maybe more like the Germans or more like the Russians or whatever. And even in the United Federation of Planets, there's always little bits of infighting, like
right.
Well, there's always going to be.
Well, but you know, like in today's society, you know, because money, gold, whatever, wealth corrupts, and basically the theory behind everything is when they moved farther in the future, they basically took the power of money away from our society. You didn't work for money. You work for the knowledge. You work for the satisfaction of doing that job, creating a race or creating
just for the betterment of mankind.
Exactly, just to make it better, not worse. We already had the worst. We had our wars. We had our
but there's no money aspect in Star Wars either. I mean, really.
They do.
Oh, there's credits.
Yeah, there's credits.
Yeah.
You're buying things with credits.
Well, there's bartering. There's a bartering system. Plus, there's other money that's involved
in Star
Trek.
You can't go to a planet and go, I'm going to take it. You have to pay
for it. No, because in Star Trek, if you couldn't simulate it, I mean, if you could not make it by a replicator.
Yeah. So we're not putting fleshlights on an iPad here.
That's why you had the what was it? The holodeck.
Holographic. Holodeck. Yeah.
A holodeck.
Yeah, but you know what?
I wonder if they had holodeck.
I'd be there 24/7. I'd
that
be
room.
The holodeck.
No. The holodeck would be your flashlight.
No, I'd be a.
You would be in that thing.
Yeah.
It would be like those old things you would hang from the ceiling for flies to get stuck to. That's what it would be like.
Exactly.
Why are we going?
You'd walk in there and you couldn't even get out of there. Can't get out of here.
Just like you had the booth moppers.
Yeah.
Have a holodeck mopper.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You're a holodeck.
Like, fuck, Irv was in here.
Yep.
This is a 5 mop.
You know, when you have druggies, you know, that overdose, he'd be overdosed on the holodeck.
Dolodeck?
You know, when you burn a room when it's totally been infected, you might as well just burn the whole goddamn room. It's not, you can't use it no more.
Jettison it.
Get it out of here. Send it to Genesis Planet. Maybe something will happen.
It doesn't matter if it's Star Trek or Star Wars. You're jettisoning it.
Yeah, exactly.
There, we found the unifying part there. Jettisoning.
Yeah. I mean, there are similarities to it.
Yeah.
But. You know.
All right. Favorite sci-fi movie other than Star Wars and Star Trek? Everybody goes quiet.
I have to think.
You gotta think a little bit.
I mean, there's so many.
You got something in your brain.
No, I'm just pulling different things in.
Like
here.
Classic
of all times.
Classic
sci-fi of all times, or what?
If you want to categorize it, go right ahead and categorize it.
Forbidden Planet, I think, from the 50s.
That one's really good.
Leslie Nielsen, like him as I think one of his first roles is like a leading man.
Yeah, he is serious business in that movie.
And then you look at
Leslie Nielsen.
Yeah,
that was the one.
He was actually. There was another movie he was actually serious in. It was Creep Show.
Okay,
it was a scary movie. He was a bad guy.
But Forbidden Planet had.
He was the one that buried,
right?
He buried some guy up to his neck.
That's the one I'm thinking of too. For a classic one, yes. Yeah, I would have to agree with a classic one, because I always loved Robbie the Robot.
Yeah.
But then when
Lost in Space came on
and you had the robot, I more fell in love with Robot than Robbie. I don't know why.
Only because it looked
danger.
Let me guess, because it looked like a flashlight.
For him, anyway.
He's got a one-track mind.
He had those hose-looking arms. So.
Vacuum hoses.
It's like, warning, Will Robinson.
But don't be such a hole.
The neat thing about Forbidden Planet was there wasn't technically an alien on the planet.
Right.
They landed there, and the scientists found this alien technology that it seemed like it was like an allegory for if you develop too quickly or develop beyond what you probably can handle, you're gonna fuck everything up.
Exactly.
Because he accidentally created this being, this energy being that this alien race probably created and wiped them out too.
Yep.
So going
the
too far,
was
too
telling
fast.
you no, you need to back off.
In looking at how things are today, we're developing technologies so quickly. We don't have laws, we don't have guidelines necessarily for.
Exactly. There's no regulation.
And we're kind of going back to the regulation thing
but
previously, but you know if you develop your technology so quickly that you as a society can't keep up with the good, what's good, what's bad about it, and what kind of laws should be structured around it to make sure that people aren't harmed by it, or the best ways to utilize it so that it can help people instead of screwing them over.
I think there's a lot of things right now when it comes to technology that are happening that most people don't think about the advanced effects of what's going on.
I mean, look at the advancements though in prosthetics though. I mean, before you know it, I mean, right now they're already designing hands.
I mean, why don't you retire your flashlight today?
Prosthetic.
But what I'm saying now is they're already designing hands, parts of prosthetic hands that actually can feel pressure, heat, cold. I mean, more realistic than what they have now. It's just
it's a lot better than the old times. You got a hook on your hand.
Yeah, but I mean, but where will it go? I mean, will they
let's swing away from let's swing away.
Well, that's kind of like sci-fi.
You know what? But you're good. You could probably put a USB port in there and plug in something.
Well,
let's swing away from the natural effects of what technology is helping with everyday human individuals, and let's go to what the government's doing. Technologically,
no, you don't want to go there.
When they're watching NSA,
no, you don't want to go there.
Whistleblower type stuff, because I mean, everybody wants everybody to advance. I want you to be able to pick something up. If you lose an arm in a war, or you lose an arm in an accident, if we have the technology, I want you to have that arm.
Well, they're already actually using that type of technology now for like the warriors on the battlefield. They have sensors all over the body, so when they do get injured out there, they know where they're hurt and. When the medic needs to come in,
off-site paying attention. That's another Star Trek thing. You go out to the planet.
Somebody's got to.
You're going to get hurt.
Somebody's got to watch
everybody
what's going
on the ship knows exactly what's going on.
Because what's the point of having to sell this stuff on you if nobody's going to be there to react to get you out of there?
Very true, but what's the point of putting anybody out there in the first place?
Well,
when you got.
You know what? It's inevitable. There's going to be wars probably.
Only because it's
all the time
right now in our own mind. I mean, if you think about
it'd be nice to have peace.
They were talking about hornets, bees, mosquitoes being able to act technologically on our aspect and do not garden warfare, but warfare. On
chemical warfare.
Anything. You really have to think about the capabilities of that, the way that is. Everybody wants everybody to succeed physically and emotionally, but nobody wants anybody to succeed politically. So I think the real true crime here, or the real true hiccup in the whole aspect, is the political aspect. Is how is anybody going to be able to control what happens when it comes to that?
So where's the sci-fi in that?
Scientifically, if we all go out and explore planets, everybody wants that advancement. But politically, nobody really wants that, because that puts a loophole in everything that everybody has a control on. Because politics ain't anything but. Let me go back. Politics is not anything anybody can control.
Yeah. Well, the space race, I mean, originally was an aspect of the Cold War. We wanted to beat the Russians into space and prove that we were
beat them, all right.
Oh, they actually
look at the long-term effects of those that went out there.
When it first started, and I know Anessa can talk about this too, because where she worked at UNT, they had
space area.
She works for the astronomy department, and they had.
I work for the physics department, and they have an astronomy.
I want to hear your sexy voice talk.
So, well, At least until the end of July.
We're not ignoring you or not here. Talk.
No, like I work for a physics department, and they have an astronomy program. And yeah, I mean, Brad was, and you guys are talking about the race to space, essentially. Mm. And it was basically to show who had the bigger guns. And I mean, Russia beat us as far as getting like the first person out into space.
Yeah.
But was it scientific or
Yuri
political?
Gagarin?
It's political. It was all political. It was all driven by.
They were pulling from the same information.
Yeah, and the thing is with the Apollo missions, when they first ended up on the moon, it was just to show, hey, we're on the moon. They had no real intention of actually doing any sort of research. They just happened to have guys that wanted to collect samples and whatnot and learn more about it.
If we're scientifically based, Russia would have landed on the moon.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, and so it was basically showing Russia, like, hey, we made it to the moon first. Mm-hmm. Sure, Russia flew around the moon and mapped the other side, and so if you take a look at the side of the moon that faces Earth versus the, quote, dark side of the moon that faces away from Earth, all of the names, all the craters, all the Maria and everything on on the dark side, mm-hmm. named by Russians, because they made it to that side first.
And then everything on the light side.
And then everything on the light side is
atypical.
Well, not
atypical.
It's like just
American
Latin
we
names.
glorify everything that we've ever done.
But yeah, they had no real intention of actually doing genuine scientific research. They just wanted to show who had the bigger dick. So
we know what that's all about.
So I mean, there was a side benefit to science for that, but it was purely political.
But it's not taught. It's not taught in everyday education.
No.
Because
we're just basically trying to show off and see if we can get there before.
Well, like she said, who had the bigger dick, who had the more power to get to where they were.
Yeah, who had more technology, more science, more money, and I mean, Russia's, at this point pretty much broke, but they were doing everything they could to get up there.
And they had a lot of failures trying to get that off.
Yeah, and they had a lot.
They had a lot.
I watched videos where those rockets would get off the ground and flip and blow up before anybody.
Oh yeah, and they don't. Yeah.
I wanna. Not digress, but I want to bring up a movie, and I'm only.
Oh, by the way, before we go too far, you asked one person what their favorite movie was. Are you gonna ask anybody else?
No, he left it for the entire table.
You didn't leave it in.
I just jumped in.
Favorite sci-fi movie.
You didn't leave it in.
No favorite sci-fi. Circle jerk.
All right.
Shit happens. Favorite sci-fi movie is
yours?
It's
probably Aliens. Probably.
Aliens. Yeah. The whole.
I was waiting
series?
for other people to chime in.
The first one or the second one?
The second.
Okay.
Aliens.
Everybody.
I mean, I've got a bunch of movies I love. But that one I can watch
sci-fi wise.
Yeah.
Like space, alien, sci-fi.
Or maybe like Blade Runner too. That's a good sci-fi, but that doesn't have nothing to do with aliens or nothing. That's more futuristic.
Like he was saying with the classic, because I actually grew up with The Forbidden Planet. But I mean, if you go more to like today's sci-fi, I mean, I watched.
Not TV show, movie.
No, I know.
Okay, I
just saw the movie Pacific Rim.
Oh, so you
loved it.
That was fun.
I loved it. Yes, I mean just to know that the whole world got together to build these huge fucking robots to kick alien ass. Loved it. I loved it.
And they weren't really alien, really.
So that's anti-Star Trek.
But yes, it is. But yeah, they were technically they were from the fifth or sixth dimension, something like this. But I mean, it was just I just loved it because it basically showed. But it basically kind of showed that the whole world can put away their differences and get together.
And Edge of Tomorrow as well.
Yes, exactly.
The way I can...
obviously, there's always political when it comes to the...
Oh, it's all political.
The way I can describe it, it's like the Japanese version or China's version. If it's Japanese, right? That made Ultraman.
Yes.
That big robot.
Yes,
it's basically our version of Ultraman fighting big creatures. Basically.
But I just loved it, though.
I mean, all we need is Pacific Rim against Godzilla.
I mean, because I've watched so many different, because I'm a big sci-fi buff anyway. I mean, I enjoy watching sci-fi.
If you can get past watching Tom Cruise, I highly
Edge of Tomorrow.
I highly recommend.
I have not seen that one
yet. Edge of Tomorrow. Highly recommend it.
Well,
another good
story in general is a really good storyline where you're jumping back and forth and trying to make.
No, you're just reliving that same day over and over and over until you achieve that goal or whatever the goal may be.
So I'm gonna go back a little bit. I'm going to the comedy side, the non-political, and I'm gonna say Slither. I like
Sliders. The Sliders.
Slither.
That almost was like a rehash of that movie Creeper.
Very small alien that will attack the world and take over everybody. I like that kind of stuff. I've always liked the what's the one where they fall asleep and
that's Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
Body Snatchers. Yeah.
Which they've redone numerous times.
From the 60s to the late 80s, and then Slither. To me, that's kind of the same genre. I like that type of stuff.
How many times did they remake that?
Which one?
Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
Not at least,
no, they're more than that.
At least 3
times. 50s version, right?
50s version. There was a
then
70s
they did
version.
one with Donald Sutherland in it.
Donald 70 version.
Then they did
the newer one.
Then they did
Body
Snatchers, which was in the 90s.
Well, and then they made another one.
Then the Invasion.
It was a TV show.
What was
they were doing?
They just I just saw it.
They did the Invasion with what's her face? Tom Cruise's wife, Nicole Kidman.
Nicole Kidman. They had her
and Daniel Craig.
Yes, Daniel Craig.
Huh.
It's called the Invasion.
And it was exactly the same thing with the Body Snatch.
Invasion.
Or the Invasion of the Body Snatch.
So
they had like
I like
4
those
versions
type of sci-fis because to me it's more of a takeover. I like the idea that we we are not the smartest out there.
Almost like War of the Worlds, where they try to take over us, but then one little infectious bug that we carry.
There's a difference between War of the Worlds, where they're trying to suck the world dry, and maybe conquer, and then the Invasion, where they're looking for. Oh, maybe that's the same.
No, it's kind of the same.
You could look at that. What's a high school one? Too?
Because they were just basically trying to terraform the world.
The high school.
Well, that's what I was just talking about. Night of the Creeps.
Jon Stewart's in it.
Yeah, Jon Stewart's in it.
Night of the Creeps, right?
No.
That was almost like the Slither one.
The Faculty.
It's
the Faculty.
The Faculty. Yeah. That's another invasion alien. You know, the little worm type that takes over your body.
Well, then you can also put the thing in there
in the back of the neck where they would tap into the brain.
And he was making the drugs.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
The thing's another one.
That's my favorite type of sci-fi type of movie where somebody takes
the thing was really creepy.
I like that one.
Yeah, that one was
and
really
everybody
good.
has to conquer it, you know. I mean, there's a difference when alien ships fly in, like Independence Day. Bad example, but the alien ship flying.
It's not really a bad example.
It wasn't a bad movie, but it wasn't the best.
There's a difference between that and
the
idea that there's nothing you really can do from what's about to happen.
Yeah.
And you're gonna conquer.
Well, then you can throw that movie Skyline in the same genre.
Well, Skyline, I think was very good. I like that one
They
too.
basically wipe out everybody. And take your brain. Basically, that's all they wanted.
Well, yeah, it was more like.
Now I hope I didn't ruin it for anybody.
Spoiler.
Fine.
I'm never gonna pay $3 to see that one.
You can watch it on Netflix for nothing. Well, not for nothing. You already paid your $8.
Yeah.
I gotta get this off my chest though.
What?
ASCAP was founded in 1914, and BMI.
1914.
1914.
Holy shit.
And BMI was founded in 1939.
Okay, I couldn't remember which came first. Yep.
I was shocked to see 1914 for ASCAP because I knew they were back that far, but not. I didn't think that far. I thought they were in the 30s, and
because if I recall correctly, that like started with like sheet music. You know, like distributing.
Because basically, I had it up here for ASCAP. It was they protect.
Excuse me.
It's a nonprofit performance rights organization to protect its members, musicians, copyrights by monitoring public performances.
Yeah, fuck them. Seriously, I think it's wrong.
Well,
I really do think it's wrong. I can understand if somebody's out like in a concert hall and they're covering somebody's music and they're playing it and they're getting paid for it. You should pay ASCAP. You should pay a royalty fee to play that song. If I'm out in a coffee shop and I'm playing Dave Matthews live at fucking Red Rocks, I shouldn't. You as a business holder shouldn't have to pay for me to play that in there because I already bought the CD, which I paid for the rights. Yeah. As long as I'm not making money for it, I paid for the rights to play that out loud.
Oh, I didn't mean to go back into that.
No, that's okay.
That's
here. Okay.
Let's go back into the sci-fi role. I like that one better.
But in the future, music rights. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, exactly. They don't give a fuck. Because no money exists.
Well, I mean, if you look at iTunes,
there you go.
You really don't have music rights. You're paying for the rights to play it on the equipment that you have, but still.
In the future.
Favorite. All-time favorite alien character.
Did we get her take on what movie she liked?
Do you have favorite alien movie, Anessa?
Favorite
Inertia?
alien movie?
Or Inertia? Favorite sci-fi? Because I don't know if you actually said your sci-fi thing.
Actually, I really enjoy Galaxy Quest.
Oh, that was good. I like that.
That one's almost like a comedy too.
It is.
Yeah.
No, it's fine, but it's a sci-fi comedy.
It's a comedy. No, I just.
See, I love the comedy.
No,
I always love comedy.
No, not to interrupt you, but wasn't that based off like a comic?
No, it was a
Star Trek.
Galaxy.
It's essentially it's taking all of the backstage things that happened with Star Trek.
Oh, okay.
Because even after the movie had come out, there was a story where Will Wheaton, who played Wesley Crusher, was like showing it to some of the other, alum from Star Trek: The Next Generation, going, "Oh, it's just like so and so. It's just great." And so like all of them got on board, like sharing it with people and just laughing their asses off over the situations of them going, what if it were us? If we had gotten, sucked into that situation.
Speaking of, what would have happened if?
What would happen if?
Yeah, we'll get there.
What would happen? I'm sorry. What would happen if Star Trek, what was the last one? In the Darkness?
In the Darkness, yeah.
If it had a different ending.
Yeah, okay.
And it shows that.
We'll get there.
We'll go there.
Is it a happy ending?
We're going to pull out different endings.
It depends on if you are a Star Trek fan or a Star Wars fan.
You're going to like it. Anyway, you were saying, though. So.
I don't remember.
All right. Well, so the Galaxy Quest.
So everybody in the background was just who worked on Star Trek: The Next Generation.
Yeah.
Got a kick out of it because they could see some of the aspects of certain actors that were portrayed by some of the characters that were used in Galaxy
I know,
Quest.
it was funny as hell.
I like that one guy in there who goes, "I don't want to be the first one on the planet because that guy always dies first. I don't want to go."
Because he's always the extra. Always the extra.
But what if
I'm wearing the red shirt?
What if you're the plucky comic relief?
Yeah, but red shirts for security. They always had to put their foot on the.
Yeah, but it's kind of like Ron Howard's brother.
Always.
He's always in his movies, right?
Well, if you got a brother that's a director actor, I mean, if I could get in a movie like that all the time, fuck, I'd do it. Fuck, I'm not going to
especially with Ron Howard. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So Galaxy Quest.
Yes.
All right. All-time favorite space character.
Space character?
Alien.
Now you're talking about like in a movie or any sci-fi thing.
No, you mean space character, just sci-fi character.
Yes, sci-fi space character. Something that stood out in your mind that was your most favorite character in a movie.
I got it.
I got mine. I know what it is.
In a movie?
Yeah.
Man, I don't know.
There's so many out there. Trust me.
But she wasn't in a movie, but she was in the sci-fi series Star Trek, and I'd have to say 7 and 9.
Okay. All right. Is that blue chick?
No, she was.
No, Jerry Ryan, super tight.
No, you said a space creature.
She was aboard.
She's not really a creature.
Her destination was 7 of 9.
So she's an alien.
Of Jerry Matrix or whatever it was. I can't think of all of them.
I know what you're talking about. Nice tits.
And they were oh shit, nice body all the way around.
I think those were enhanced.
Yeah, well they could have simulated them there, I guess.
Stimulated.
Or stimulated. There you go.
You've been targeted for stimulation.
Exactly.
See, I mean, even the Terminator. We're talking alien creation, anything.
See, that's why I asked if it would be movie or what, or everything that's going on.
Yeah, I think mine would be the T800 or T1000.
T1 no.
T800 or T1000.
Yeah. T1000 was the Robert Patrick.
Liquid guy. Arnie was the T800.
And then you got the TX, which is
that was the female one.
Yeah.
Pretty much the same thing,
Which
but just
sucked
she was like a combination of the
character.
T800 and the T1000 together because she could morph her body into things, but she had a solid.
No, she was more like the T1000, wasn't she?
She was solid
TX?
like the original Terminator with the skeleton head,
right?
But she could make her arm into a cannon or whatever.
Right.
She could do more complex things.
So she was basically a mesh between the two.
Stuff,
right.
Huh?
Yeah, she was.
Because that's really alien, but I mean it's futuristic.
Well, if you think about it in a certain way, it was mankind created this artificial intelligence, and the artificial intelligence became something more. So I guess technically could be considered alien.
It's a gray area.
It's a gray area.
Yeah.
I mean, it's an alien to our time.
Because that was actually they were actually made by...
Well, really, what's the term alien?
They weren't really an alien race.
Well, I mean...
It wasn't... Well, actually, I should say then...
You're really thinking about this, Brad.
But you know, though... But 7 and 9 really wasn't an alien either. She was an American girl that was abducted by an alien race and simulated. So she really wasn't technically an alien.
She still had aspects of the Borg that, I mean...
Yeah, because she still had the Borg implants, and she still had certain
so she was
warp
under the
technology.
influence.
Yeah.
It could be under the influence.
Because I was thinking, technically, she's
I might
not
have to change
really
my answer now.
alien.
he's got other answers over
Well,
here. Bring it on.
He made a good point. It's not really alien. It's basically something that we made. But I'd say maybe a character from a sci-fi movie I just talked about a little bit ago was a thing, because I think it could morph into whatever.
Yeah.
It could mimic.
So original
Yeah,
thing
so
from the
scary.
80s?
Or the new one,
Okay.
I've
prequel.
not seen the new one.
Yeah.
I've
Basically,
only
the
seen
new
from the
one,
80s.
it's not a retelling of the
It's a
one from the
prequel.
80s. It's
Mm.
telling what happened in the Swedish camp before,
Oh,
or
okay,
the
but-
Norwegian camp
Yeah, before it.
before it went over.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
basically, everything that you didn't know when they went to go investigate in the
Mhm.
original movie, it shows everything that happened there.
Oh, okay.
So it's
Yeah,
pretty
'cause
cool.
They sort of allude to it in the thing that something. Yeah, there we go.
Oh, the Predator.
That would be the great
Yep.
one. Yeah.
No,
Predator.
no. I'm going critters. I like the critters.
Kill the Christ.
I like the critters, man.
You remember those little fuzzball things with lots of teeth?
Yes.
And when they
Oh, my
when they
Lord.
merge into that big ball,
and they get into a
and-
big
oh,
ball,
yeah.
and they can dominate like a fucking
rolled over
you
that
know,
guy.
like an
and it was
Indiana
just a
Jones
skeleton.
Temple of the Doom ball.
You know,
But I mean, but Predators, what you got to say, has got to
I
be
mean, come
one
on.
of a good alien, though.
Predators
Well,
on the
yeah.
A bounty hunter from another planet coming near and.
Yeah, but we can subcategorize.
I'm not saying it's my
all
best
that.
one, but I would say it would be one of the
It's a
good
very good one.
aliens.
It's very good.
And
Brad,
it's
so
like a really recognizable sound. though,
Exactly.
too.
I mean, just to sound like that,
Yeah.
you know exactly what you're talking
well,
about.
you think of Arnold Schwarzenegger, you know? I mean, he's
Okay.
covered in mud,
yeah,
you know.
uses a fucking death scream. I don't know why they think that was good. Good one, Arnold. That was so believable.
That was perfect.
I don't know. That was crazy.
That's a recognizable sound too.
Exactly.
Very, very. It's almost better than a predator.
Or you got the alien scream too when they get hit. You know, they got that high pitched squeal.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's another.
Yeah, we're talking about aliens that come from another planet. Somebody want to take over your fucking facility or everything you
No,
own.
you just said alien, period.
Yeah.
In sci-fi.
I'm regenerating.
No,
here.
don't regenerate
Yeah.
crap. Just stay with one
You
and then
can't.
go
You
with
can't
it.
tell us what we
Yeah,
want here.
you can't
Well,
just give us boundaries and
You
then
can't
change
come
the
up with a
boundaries.
good answer.
What do you mean? What is not a good answer? It's our
Hey.
opinion.
Specific, non-human,
I just
I said
it.
predator would be a good one.
non-Earth.
That's
Predator's not non-Earth.
Yeah,
You didn't say that
yeah,
either,
yeah.
God.
A non-human
Try to
on
help Brad
Earth.
here.
Yeah,
non-human on Earth. That's alien. Are you fucking? Take this away from me.
You're done.
He's had too many lines.
Non-Earth, non-human, non-alien.
Well, you know, you think about the thing wasn't from Earth originally. It crash landed and got frozen.
very
Yeah.
true. Very
And
true.
then-
The
Very true.
predators
The
just coming
predator
here
came
to
from
fucking
another
hunt
planet
us,
to hunt
basically.
us.
I'm not arguing with you guys. I'm
Yeah, you
trying
are.
to get Brad a
Yeah, he's
better
trying to help
fucking
me because my
cat.
brain's like, oh my god.
He's stuck in a gel
And
here.
it's movies, not like
It
TV
doesn't
shows.
matter.
Oh, it doesn't
He's
matter.
favorite
Okay.
character.
Then
He's
I-
actually stuck in a warp
Have you
bubble
read a
right
book?
now, right?
Have you read a book with an
Mhm.
alien character that you really, really, really like? That maybe there is no movie for.
You know, actually, I think I'm going to go with the Doctor from Doctor Who.
Doctor Who?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, because he was not from
He
Earth.
was not from
He's not from Earth.
Really?
Yeah, and I
Right.
had kind of that same idea, but when you asked about favorite alien, for some reason, the
I'm
potato
thinking-
head aliens from Doctor Who, the Centaurans,
Okay.
popped in my head, and then I started thinking about Strax, and he's
potato head
just
ones. Can you pop those up? I want to see those.
yeah, the Centaurans.
Yeah, I don't know.
They've
See,
got like the big.
And you can hit them in the back of the head and just knock them out. It's,
Really?
it's funny, and they're all
their
about
only
fighting. It's like
Really
their
the
only
only-
weakness.
And that's a hell of a big soft spot.
I
back
know,
there.
the back of the head.
the only ones that I've actually seen for Doctor Who is my mom used to watch the one with Tom Baker.
Oh, I remember them.
Which ones?
Right there.
Yes.
I remember
That guy.
those.
Sontaran, yeah.
I
For some
remember
reason,
that.
he was the first thing that popped in my head.
Okay.
I work with a guy that's got a neck that big.
What about the
I
bald
had a
chinians
Labus
from
that
Men
had
in
the neck
Black
that
where you
big.
got
See? Oh, yeah, exactly.
Yep.
bald chinians?
How about that little fucking dog, that little Boston Terrier from fucking Men in Black?
Uh,
Yeah.
According to him,
Was that-
all
that
our-
was, his name was Frank, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
Frank.
Yeah,
Frank.
the dog.
according to him, according to those guys, all our bad teachers were aliens.
You know the freakiest thing that I saw when I was a kid, you know, in a movie that scared me about dogs was going back to the whole Invasion of the Body Snatchers thing. When that dog ran up with that human head on it
Oh,
when I was younger.
oh yeah.
That freaked the shit out of me when I was a kid. It's like, oh my god! And you're not supposed to react to that because if the person reacted to that, like they were scared, they'd know right away that you weren't one of them. So that kind of flipped me out. I'm getting goosebumps already.
I didn't watch that fucker.
Yeah, I think for me, The Thing was The Thing and Aliens or Alien were the first two sci-fi alien-based movies that freaked the shit out of me.
That was more like
Xenomorphs.
Life Force would be like.
Can you guys recollect your first sci-fi alien movie? I mean, there's a big difference between sci-fi because obviously Star Trek, Star Wars, they're kind of space.
I mean,
stuff.
sci-fi has got such you got to broaden.
I'm bringing it down. Alien sci-fi, horror alien sci-fi. Something
horror
that scared
alien.
you.
You mean just an alien? Not from this world or this galaxy type of.
Basically, sci-fi.
You're not talking
scary
about.
I'm not talking E.T. where everybody wants to eat Reese's
Yes,
Pieces.
you would be
No,
because
I'm not.
he was
I
an
said
alien.
horror.
Well,
Horror.
There's a difference.
Or
Something
horror.
that scared you.
there's not a whole lot of aliens besides like the Predator that came and stripped your freaking.
There's a lot.
I would not recommend screwing a xenomorph. I bet you that would be.
Oh, I know. Killer clowns from space. There you go.
Oh, God.
No,
that's kind of a joke.
I know. I had a I mean, he wants to be silly. I'll give it to
I'm
him.
not being silly. I'm saying, what's the
I
first
know.
movie? Phantasm.
That's
First
not
movie
really a
that's
sci-fi.
an alien.
That's not alien.
That's alien sci-fi.
Actually, you don't find out
Yes, they
until
did. Came
later
from
that
another
That is
world.
alien. They were aliens.
Yes, they were.
Yeah.
So I'm saying,
I just did.
It was almost like
It's more like a dimensional
they,
thing.
Yeah,
Right,
it was.
what's the first sci-fi alien movie that scared you
The
that
Thing.
you watched?
That scared the shit out of me.
Thing?
That was 1982 when that came out, so I wasn't very old.
Well, you know, if I wasn't high on acid,
I was 7 years old.
Phantasm wouldn't have probably done it. The one that really probably that I really remember that just I did not like. I mean, I liked the movie, but that
You said you
scared
just
me.
did not like
No,
You
it's
liked
not
it?
that. I liked the movie, but I just did not like
the feeling.
how it made me feel.
Yeah.
Was Pitch Black with Van Diesel.
Yeah.
When they were on the planet, he was
Really?
yes, because it was pitch black. These creatures, and you didn't know what they were.
You're
until-
scared of the dark.
I mean, it made you really.
You had to use your imagination.
Yes, and then when you sit at home and you have all the lights off, it's like you hear a noise like, and that movie was so fresh in your mind after you watch it. It was like, what the hell? You know, I mean, because then your imagination. And I always say your imagination is your worst enemy in anything. I really did not care because it made me have nightmares for.
That's not the only movie that you were scared of. I remember that one time we watched the movie Silver Bullet. You had me go in the bathroom with you so you take a shit.
Because I was afraid because we had a fucking bathroom with a window right there, and you're afraid to fucking see what jump right through the window.
It's like Sean, I gotta poop. Go in the bathroom. Just sit there with me for a minute. This movie freaked me out.
Yeah, but he was only like 5-6 years old though. It's like
I was older than that. I was a little.
Well,
older than
I know,
that.
but you were
It's like
young.
maybe 10, maybe.
Yeah, but still, you were
It's like,
young.
really? I gotta sit there while you take a dump?
That's not sci-fi though. That's like werewolf.
It depends on how you think.
No,
about it.
I'm just giving you shit.
It's still sci-fi.
But no,
Pitch
Black.
right.
I just didn't really like too much.
Huh?
I mean, but it was a great movie. I've watched it maybe a half a dozen times already, and I really enjoy it. But when I first watch it, and you're not really sure what the hell is going on. It's like.
For me, it's Alien and The Thing. If I want to get atmospheric sci-fi horror,
and that's
more
still
reality-based.
Yeah.
The Thing still has staying power too, even to today now. I mean, granted, some of the effects look a little dated, but it's still scary.
Yeah.
Music and everything together. I think John Carpenter did a really good job with him being a composer too.
Yeah.
Him.
The Thing didn't
doing his
really
own music.
bother me too much for being really, really scary. I mean, I don't know why that didn't bother me as much as like Pitch Black did, though.
but just seeing that like
For me,
the
it was the
dude's head
opposite.
come off,
Yeah.
and then
grow legs.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh my god. Oh.
Or he busts through his chest and the chest.
Yeah.
closes on.
He's like
yeah.
just gonna
Yeah.
defibrillate.
I mean, it was cool how
Yeah.
they, it was cool, but I mean, it was like, it was kind of creepy and, but
Yeah.
I really wasn't like,
And then the
I didn't have
dogs.
nightmares. That was, they were nasty, but.
That's funny. I just went to IMDb and I typed in Resident Evil, and Mila Jovovich is fucking like 14th in the list of the fucking movies.
She was the main character.
Well, she was in a movie. It was a space movie where she was a psychologist. I cannot remember the
Space movie?
fucking name of it.
Psychologist?
Yeah.
She really went off on a different tangent from the very first movie she was in that I know of was Dazed and Confused. It was like a stoner movie back in 1990.
She was a girl. Yeah, but a lot of actors came from that movie.
But,
I mean, Ben Affleck was in that movie.
A lot of big name actors now.
They all best thing about chicks is they all get younger, and I stay the same age.
No, I keep staying. They keep getting. They're younger, and whatever. I know what you're talking about.
So what alien type of movie scared you, or?
I'm getting to it.
Well, you got
that one there. He's got.
You can't go in your database in your head. You got to use a computer.
So how about you, Nessa?
Probably Alien. Honestly, yeah. As far as sci-fi alien movies, and yeah.
Because that one kind of kept you guessing too.
Yeah, there was a lot of darkness in that one too, and there was always a possibility of something lurking around the corner.
Yeah.
So there was always that element of surprise.
I guess I was a lot older though when I first started watching. When I saw that, so really, it was kind of dark and kind of like the.
That was probably
right.
It was just the unknowing because you never knew, and then all of a sudden you seen that slime dropping down in there. It's like you don't know.
That was towards the end of the 70s too.
It was 79.
I'm gonna jump back and forth here. The first sci-fi movie that really impacted me was Alien.
Mm-hmm.
I remember exactly where I was. I was sitting in Dorchester in the trailer.
Eating mushrooms.
No. Jesus Christ. I didn't leave Dorchester till fucking second grade.
That's when you were involved then. That's where you found him.
No.
You were tall enough. You could find him easier.
Jesus Christ, man. Hey, you're way off.
Oh, I bet I'm right on.
Anyway. I remember sitting in Dorchester with my mom and Rod at the time and watching Alien. And the only reason, not the only reason that I remember it, but I remember the movie because it really impacted me with Sigourney Weaver and the fight between the mother alien and.
Oh, you're thinking of Alien.
Oh, in the.
You said Alien.
You're
talking about the first one or the second?
Second one.
All right.
Aliens.
Okay. Where they're fighting. That really impacted me, but. Another reason that it impacted me is because I remember puking that night at the same time. Because I was sitting there watching the movie, I was enjoying it, but my stomach, I was sick, and I'm like, I want to watch it, I'm sick, I'm watching it. And I ran out of the bathroom, and I got up out of the chair, I ran to the bathroom, and I puked this pink cottage cheese all over the fucking hallway. And so, I mean,
that was a face hugger,
first sci-fi movie that really impacted me was Alien. So,
and then he was waiting for one of them just to burst out of his chest. I imagine you're being that sick.
I love sci-fi. I love the unimaginable that comes to life, and then you can imagine it. Like, holy shit, that could really happen, And every time I get heartburn, I'm thinking an alien's gonna pop out of my chest, Yep. I mean, who here doesn't like sci-fi? Has never thought the alien's not gonna pop out of my chest,
Or you see these little squiggly
things coming through your skin,
and you just gonna rip your skin wide open, and they jump out.
Are you talking about in Prometheus when that guy looked in his eyeball? He saw
Yeah, exactly. That's one of them.
That was gross.
That's a prequel to Alien.
Oh, there's going to be 2 more.
I mean, how many people can cut their own stomach open with a simulated machine to have the baby that's really going to take over the world?
Well, there's that other one. No, the other one was what I thought was pretty good was the Prometheus.
That's what we were just talking about.
Is that the one?
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't listen.
No,
I do too.
They've got 2 more coming up.
Do they?
As far as I know.
Yeah, but the cool thing about that movie too, though, is you really want to like Star Wars. You want to go back and read about the subcategory stories that really relate to it. That's the best thing for me. I have a very big compassion for the Star Wars books. I like to read in sequence the stories that take place for everything.
Just that sort of world building around it to kind of shore up.
There's those details. Like why is Han Solo wearing the striped pants? Because he was part of the Empire at one time. He was a spaceship operator at that one time, and he said, "Fuck this! I'm not part of this. This is something I don't want to." He was a defect like me. That's why I like Han Solo.
You're a defect.
You, I ain't gonna fucking do it,
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, in general, though, but then I want to go back to something that really scared me in general, which is the movie The Fourth Kind.
Yeah, that's all based on
reality
stuff.
or a psychologist aspect of something that happened in Alaska. And those types of movies, for me, really, I mean, you're looking at Alien now, we're kind of going into spiritual.
That's more that's more like
that's alien.
That's more like
alien. If you haven't seen it, it's alien.
It's both somebody getting abducted and they're
abduction
by aliens.
And their body acting a certain way. They actually have real footage of the videotape sessions.
Oh, I heard it was
people
fake.
go in convulsions or whatever so bad it looks like they break their spine.
Yeah, I heard that was all found out to be fake later on. But that type of stuff for me, that really impacts me because there's a reality to that. So, okay, this is good.
You got to have an open mind.
Well, of course, always got to have an open mind.
Even the same thing with ghosts too. You know, you got to have an open mind. Even though personally I haven't witnessed ghosts or aliens, I mean, I believe there's stuff out there. We got entities that control our body. It's a soul, so it's got to go somewhere. You know, and I don't think
that's
it's
why a
lot
lot
of
of
an entity controlling your body.
I'm not talking about a little fucking family of four.
I'm not talking about like Men in Black.
No, like a life
face
force.
opens
Life
up
force.
and
You got you've got energy controlling your body. I mean, you got the soul controlling you, but it's got to go somewhere. You know.
Yeah. What happens to your conscience when you're gone?
Well, yeah, I have that question all the time.
Yeah.
I'm not negating what you just said. I'm just saying you really think that your body is controlled by something other than your body.
Well, something's powering your body to move, obviously.
Yeah, your muscles.
And everything inside you. But you all got that electrical pulse going through your body.
Well, everybody has an electrical aura or some type of an aura about them anyway. And where is that coming from?
If you were abducted, would you tell anybody?
Oh, my ass is safe.
Well, if you put it this way,
you don't know that. You don't know that.
I don't have no ass huggers going after me, just face huggers.
You mean if you knew you were abducted, would you say something?
Yes. If you were abducted, would you say something?
I don't think I'd
Nowadays, it's probably more acceptable than it was 30, 40, 50 years ago. You know, because you were considered nuts.
A big span, 30, 40, 50.
I mean, when more and more abduction cases
the first
came up,
abduction cases didn't really come up until
the 30s, wasn't it?
Bill and Betty Hill,
yes.
Back in the 60s or 50s.
Are you talking?
It was the black man and the white woman that were abducted numerous of times. They were driving home.
They lost
and
bits
then
of time.
It was after they came forward with their experiences that other people started coming forward, and they started having very similar experiences. And so then came the question of, are these people genuinely being abducted? Like, do they believe it, or do they just hear about this story, they dream, and then they wake up and they're like, I'm abducted, like I'm an abductee, but they really aren't.
And
it's just in their mind.
But especially though too, when they asked more and more abductees to draw out the beings that they saw, and everybody came up with what they know as the grays. And more they were coming up, and there were all the similarities. It's like, how can all these people have all the similarities of being on an operating table, having probed, and you know, all this stuff happening? How can all these people have the same thing happening? So it was more or less, well, they're not crazy, so it could have happened. You know, I mean,
could have happened. It could have been a dream. It could have been,
or they could have drank the same water or whatever. You never know, and they all hallucinated the same way. I mean, you know,
they had too many pitchers of beer one night.
Mm-hmm.
They lost like 5 hours, and they think they got abducted. I don't know.
I do that like every
whacked out. I don't know if I'd just come out and say, hey, I think I got abducted. I wouldn't just say it to everybody. Probably
I mean, if
talk
you
to
have
people I can trust a little bit.
You know,
close friends, maybe?
Isn't that where it all starts from? Everybody tries to find somebody that has a relation to it. And then
I mean, what is
the relationship?
But what is the feeling of deja vu? I mean, what really is the feeling of deja vu?
I
You know, you go somewhere, you're working somewhere, but now I'm not saying that either. I'm just saying, you know, I mean, I imagine everybody here had a feeling of deja vu.
It's a glitch in the Matrix.
I knew.
Red pill or blue pill.
Exactly.
What if you took both together? Would that really mess up?
Yeah, really, what happened?
I've
You
always
take a
wondered
purple
that.
pill.
Your head would explode.
Or you just go.
Can I do both?
I'd rather
go.
You'd become an unstable body and then blow up after 10 minutes.
Well, Ice wanted to show this video about how it should have ended.
It's a great
It's
series
Star
of
Trek.
stuff.
It's a Star Trek. How it should have ended. Yes.
I saw the one for Frozen. That was pretty funny.
Yep.
Was it? This
Yeah.
is actually cool. This is a very, very cool.
wanna hit
This is basically the last part of the settings of the J.J. Abrams.
Abram?
Or Abrams, yeah.
Kirk to engineering. Get us out of here, Scotty. I'm giving her all she's got, Captain. Well, that's not good enough. If we eject the cores and detonate, the blast might be enough to push us away. Do it, do it, do it.
Use your flashlights here.
Well, that didn't work at all. We are still caught in the gravitational pull.
What are we going to do, Captain?
We've got to make this ship as light as possible. It's our only chance.
But we're in space. Weight has nothing to do.
Scotty, I want you to jettison every crew member wearing a red shirt and any spare parts you've got.
Red
I'm
shirts?
wearing a red shirt, Captain. Just do it.
You changed it to yellow.
Go
Still no
figure.
effect, sir.
I thought for sure that was gonna work.
Oh, how'd she get on
Proving to be
the...
most
She didn't get
illogical.
ejected.
I know.
She's wearing
Hold on, I'm thinking.
She's wearing
It's
a
a
red
red
dress.
dress.
I've got an idea. Computer, I want you to shut down all the lens flare generators.
Lens flare generators deactivated.
Fascinating.
That's better.
I was unaware that we had that.
It's nice, right? I mean, who designs a starship where lights shine right in your eyes from virtually every angle?
Captain, please!
Okay, so basically, we're out of options. We have no warp core, we have no red shirts, we have no rescue. Bones. Any ideas? Jim, if you make me say I'm a doctor, not a magician, I'm gonna come up there and punch you in the... Right, he's got no ideas. There is one thing left we can do. Turn the ship around.
Go into it, huh?
Might as well go for it, right?
Even if we survive, it is unpredictable
I mean, if you think
where
about
the
it.
ship will emerge on the other side.
Well, we don't have much of a choice now, do we, Spock? Plus, we're explorers, right? Figure something out. It's what we do. Mr. Sulu, take us through the black hole. Yes, sir.
There's big robots from the black hole there.
Now watch,
The
just
final
watch.
frontier. These are the voyages of the Starship Enterprise. Its continuing mission to explore strange new worlds, to seek out new life and new civilizations, to boldly go where no man has gone before.
Nice.
Oh, we are going to get so much crap for that.
That was pretty good.
I figured you two would love that part.
Oh, yeah. Death Star always.
Oh, shit.
Oh, Spock.
In the future.
Yeah. You got beamed onto the Death Star.
Nice.
Yep. It's awesome.
What do they call that? The Vulcan...
Vulcan Death Grip? No.
The
not
nerve
pressure,
pinch.
the nerve pinch. Yeah,
Yeah.
the nerve
Nerve
pinch.
pinch. It's not the mind meld.
No,
No.
mine melds up to the face. Yeah.
It's like, smell my fingers.
Yeah, exactly.
Jesus
Exactly.
That'd make you hallucinate,
too.
Here's a little Vulcan tape.
But they have tons of them like this. They have how Avatar should have ended and
Wow.
Harry Potter. I mean, you just name a movie, they have it out there right now.
That's pretty
It
cool.
is actually
It's a fun
so cool.
channel to watch
It
if you
is.
got the time.
Yeah.
So let's get back to your podcast that you guys are on, Galactic Netcast. How often do you guys do the podcast?
Usually once a week.
Yeah, we do the 2 shows once a week.
Is there a certain day of the week are you guys? Weekends?
Well, right now, Matt's the only one of us that does like physical activity outside of just sitting on our asses at work. He's in a soccer league
Okay.
during the summer, so we're kind of floating around his schedule, and I think we're switching back to Thursdays.
Thursdays? Okay.
Yeah.
And we do our first show at 7:30 Central, and then our next show is at
7 Central and
7
then
Central.
8:30 Central.
I am so freaking horrible at times. I'm surprised I even show up for the damn show. If she didn't live in the house with me, I probably would be like halfway through the show. Hey guys,
Oh,
I
hey.
heard this was going on.
yeah. So
It's a good podcast. I'm going to join.
I suppose I should show up. Yeah, that'd be cool.
That's the best part about podcasts too, is you just kind of do it when you want to do it. and
It's
then people
good to
kinda-
have a regular time to do the show.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of like, and then getting back to radio, I mean, you want to have an appointment-based, you know, you want to be there at a time and be there, set that commitment. You're going to be there at a certain time, and you're going to do it every time.
Yep.
People like regularity, whether it's their crap or listening to
Well, the
their
nice,
favorite show.
the nice thing about us, though, is we record anytime we want to.
Yeah.
But we try to release every Wednesday.
Yeah.
So.
Yep.
And that's good.
There's a difference when you're putting it up.
Yeah.
And there's a live aspect
Yeah.
to it.
Yeah.
So we give you the option. If you want to come and watch live
and we do
or
that
listen
too.
live.
Yep.
I mean, we try to do it, if we're going to do any recordings or live video or something, we try to do it pretty much the same time all the time.
Yeah. We try to stick
Friday,
with
Saturday,
Sundays
Sunday.
as much as possible, but sometimes Friday nights are thrown in.
Well, but then, everybody's schedule gets erupted some way and
And
somehow, and it happens,
I had Alex until this evening, which is why I asked to do the show later.
Actually, it worked out pretty good with everything we were doing.
Yeah, with all the baby showers, so that's cool. I don't feel quite as bad though.
No,
All right.
I had a double whammy for that one.
It's like a fucking puzzle, man.
I have to give him the vagina back. I borrowed one.
Okay, tell us about your vagina.
So I had to get into my feminine side today, joining both baby showers. Yeah, the first one was a little bit more commingled, like
family.
Yeah, family, guys, girls. But the other one, I was the only guy at it.
Really?
That was it.
Awesome.
I love those kind of.
So it was good. It was good in my favor there, but a lot of them had like formaldehyde and Bengay, like pouring out every orifice. So a lot of old ladies there, but it was all right.
I got a mental image of that. I'm like, oh my god, it's like
Bengay.
watching The Thing.
Yeah, kind of.
Or the Xenomorph
Or,
from Aliens.
When I watch the thing, my ass hurt.
Well, the other thing that popped in my head was in Starship Troopers. The big brainy alien that has a thing that sucks out the brain.
God,
that was what popped in my head. With all
Another
the
good
eyes.
sci-fi.
And that was another movie after I.
First one is awesome.
He looked like
The fourth
nothing
one?
but one of those big, fat.
No, the
third one, I saw part of it.
That was bad.
And oh my gosh! Although I heard that they upped the budget for the third one over the second one.
Yes.
Oh my
the
God.
third one's actually better than the second one.
I
They
thought
spent more
third
money on
sucked.
shit
No.
on the third
Well,
one.
yeah, they paid for more effects on the third one.
See, but we can sit here all day. And
But isn't
talk
that weird though? The guy that directed the second one, Phil Tippett, is the guy that did all the stuff for Jurassic Park and all the
Which is good.
special effects and everything. He's a good puppeteer, but
Would you consider Jurassic Park sci-fi? I mean,
Yeah.
it's
Well,
kinda-
yeah,
in a way.
sci-fi, yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
Because
it's
they're
science
trying
fiction
to-
because they use science to bring back these dinosaurs and they explain it in a scientific
So
way.
it's sci but fiction.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's
Right.
science
in the
fiction.
movie they did succeed in bringing them back.
All I know is if they
Yeah.
can
And they
do it,
terrorize everybody.
don't do it.
Yeah.
I
Just
mean,
because you
you know
can
what?
doesn't mean you
Exactly.
should.
I tell you what.
I mean, and there's a reason why they're not here anymore. We
I
should
tell you
not
what.
bring them back.
The United States should take Hawaii and turn it into a Jurassic Park. Seriously.
No,
Just wait
that
for
should
Mauna
be-
Kea to
no,
explode.
No,
Yes,
no,
yes.
that should be just a prison. Put all your bad
No,
people.
You wanna send them to Hawaii?
We'll bring back
No, that's
Alcatraz.
Puerto Rico's.
Yeah.
Would you
I
just
mean,
say
if you
now?
want to get out of
You want
there
to send the
and
dinosaurs
go,
to
but-
Hawaii?
No, I'm saying
Yeah,
take
long way
Hawaii
to
and
swim
turn it
to
into a
get to the
Jurassic
United
Park.
States.
Yeah.
Why would you do that? Just send it
Yeah,
to
the-
Iraq.
Because if the volcano goes off, it can end the dinosaurs before they even have a chance.
Holy
to get-
shit, run away! They're go!
No, not India.
No, send it to Iraq.
Yeah.
Yeah, might as well.
No, it's
Yeah.
too close. It's landlocked. You can't do that.
Who
You
gives
can
a
put it
shit?
on an island.
Yeah, but it ain't gonna touch us.
Hawaii's part of the United States.
Do, do,
Might
do,
want to
do.
go visit there one day.
All right, political aside.
Set aside the politics.
Yeah, I mean, if it were up to me, we'd make all the fucking that shit glass.
Well, you could put them in Australia because they've got all the venomous
Yeah, but
creatures and stuff down
Australia
there
was
too.
The ruse, man, the ruse.
Such a beautiful country.
Yeah, but
It's like in the
Australia
desert.
was already a prison.
Yeah.
The English,
So was America.
no, but I mean,
No, they-
before English,
Yeah,
the English they put
they
people
sent all
down
their
there, all the
prisoners there.
Australia.
Well, Cuba sent all theirs here. What's the difference? I mean, honestly, what island in this fucking world is not a prison? That's
Wow, that was just like it's kind of like the metaphysical sort of yeah, the island is a prison, man. It's just surrounded by water and there's no way out of it
Ireland,
unless you have a-
England.
The United States.
Yeah.
North America, South America.
Just
We're all
keep the
surrounded by
dinosaurs
water.
on Isla Sorna. Okay.
Well, I read this book. It was called the Fingerprints of the Gods. It was by Graham.
You have a problem with
crackers.
Graham Chapman.
Yeah.
No.
No,
Okay.
it was something Graham.
Bill Graham.
No, he's a
Billy Graham.
world-renowned
Frank Graham.
scientist that deals with aliens.
Graham Reaper.
It was a 4.5, 5-inch book, and it talks about all the different types of locations around the world that have alien significance.
I like the Nazca lines.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, and the what is
And-
the
Machu
No, the
Picchu.
Nazca lines are
Right.
what they are. Look like
Stonehenge.
spiders
Yeah.
flying over the top.
Those are the
Okay.
Nazca lines, yeah.
All right.
And he talks about
Woodhenge.
this one well-known subject called the Viracocha, which is what we call God or Jesus, which has set foot on different points of land at the same time. No, not at the same time. Different points of land, but everybody describes this individual as the same person.
Mhm.
Long hair, beard, white cloaked, walking on water. And I was so intrigued by that book that it led me to all these other types of books where he went into psychedelics and dealing with MDMA and mushrooms and stuff.
I
like
was
that.
going to say that mushrooms.
But they say there's another world.
That's
out
why he
there.
saw people walking
We're
on
talking
water.
about. I'm coming into the aspect that there's different worlds out there, and there's a different world other than the perspective that we have right now.
Right.
But when you talk about psychedelic drugs and what's going on with the individuals that take these, there's a different world aspect or a different dementia than where you're going when it comes to these. You laugh about it.
I ain't laughing at you.
All right.
He's got giggly
No,
panties. Leave
giggling
him alone.
because he's looking at.
Because I'm talking about, when we're talking about aliens, it's like, okay, psychedelic, okay, well, and then you see this little bug, and it almost looks like one of these great big bugs. Stormtrooper. Or, I mean,
Starship Troopers.
Stormtrooper.
but then you sit there talking about this guy walking on water. Well,
Lightsaber.
okay, it's not really God, it's what?
Midichlorians.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, come on, it's all can be related to sci-fi.
Yeah.
And I'm giggling here, okay?
That's fine.
I'm like a little schoolgirl.
A lot of individuals.
without the uniform.
Exactly.
Yeah,
it would look terrible in it.
But if you look at the aspect of spirituality and where you're going to go from this point forward, I mean, we sit here in our hard concrete evidence of our bodies, and if you were to pass away, where are you going to go from that point forward? So a lot of people talk about the one eye in your brain, the third or fourth dimension that you might open up with the psychedelics. And what you can realize with that aspect, which you can come to understand the difference between where you're at and where you're going to go. A lot of people don't realize that those things come into the books and the movies that we watch. A lot of people hit those third eyes, as I call it, and coming in with these creations, with the storylines that you're coming up with. But there's a big difference when you think about that and then your own mind or creation. So
you're talking like the collective unconsciousness, or
yes, what's the one thing that you created in your mind that scared you the most?
So this is a question that you want us to answer.
I'm getting it.
Wow, that was a fucking drawn out thing, man.
Well,
Could
you
you
fucking
just-
interrupted. If you wouldn't shut the fuck up.
Could you put the layman's term?
Yeah. Okay. So layman's term.
Can I phone a friend?
Layman's term. Have you ever created
Can
something
I
in your
jump
own
that
mind?
question? Can I jump that question?
No. Fuck you.
Okay.
Have you ever created something in your own mind that has scared you, scientifically or sci-fi wise? Is there something in your dream that has haunted you?
Oh wow.
Besides Freddy Krueger, I don't know.
Yeah, Freddy Krueger in my dreams, man.
Um,
Gayest fucking movie, fucking Freddy 2. You ever watch that movie?
Yeah, I've got it.
You ever get over the gay anecdote?
The thing I won't answer your question, but it's the thing I hate about legitimate scary movies is they start out scary and then they slowly start turning into comedies, and I hate that.
They just become so ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, you got the Friday the 13th, you know, that some of them are good, and some of them I can just leave and not even watch again. But yeah, same thing with Nightmare on Elm Street. They just get more and more
Well,
retarded.
then they can't make up their minds, so then they bring them both together, Jason and Freddy, and all this other shit. I mean, come on. I mean, let's be realistic.
They know
People
they
are,
wanna
have more creative ideas and just
They know they want to make another movie, but they're running out of ideas, so they just meld them together.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
that would be like putting the Addams Family with the Munsters, for God's sakes, and see how that would
See,
turn out.
now you just gave him a new idea.
All rights reserved.
Copyright Dixon Center.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I don't know if there's anything that you're talking about
Anything you ever
dreaming
thought
of
about?
or thought of.
Have you ever had dreams that? All right, I've got dreams.
I don't
have
know.
no idea because I don't think I
Yeah.
really sit down and think about.
I think the
like
dreams
that, I
that have
guess.
really scared me have usually involved getting into a car wreck and going underwater.
So it's
But
okay.
nothing alien.
Nothing alien.
No, I wouldn't
No.
have nothing. The only thing that would scare
Or-
me is I was always had dreams where, fuck, I can't get my goddamn combination lock open and get my locker open. So I can get my goddamn.
I can't get to my flashlight.
Oh, you know what?
She was gonna say it. I said it before you, but you were gonna say it.
I was thinking it.
Speaking of the fleshlight, and this kind of
All right.
deals with science.
Okay.
In China, and this is a story that had just come out, they have
Oh, I saw
the
that.
sperm donation machines where they have like these standing units.
I saw those.
And
on
you put your
Facebook.
pecker into it.
Yep, exactly.
And if you're too small, it'll say, sorry, you have to put it in farther, huh?
Would you like to make a deposit? Yes, I'd like to make a deposit.
But
And then somebody, I want to make a withdrawal, please.
Or the voice will say, welcome.
Yeah.
here we go.
There's the alien one right there. It looks
I
like
like that it's blue.
that's like
I
Smurfette.
don't because it reminds me of Blue Waffle.
Isn't that Smurfette?
Oh god.
That's
Papa
Smurfette's
Smurf.
vagina, yeah. No,
They could have made
that's-
it green.
Yeah, well, yeah, but if you look at it, it looks like the
She-Hulk
Avatar.
Giger on the outside.
Oh
It
yeah.
looks like the HR Giger stuff. So.
The Jenna Hayes maze.
Wow.
Maze?
Maze.
Is that the color of it or
No,
a
it's-
maze?
Well, they show you the rib on the inside, so the cylindrical on the side. It shows you what it looks like on the
Oh,
inside.
that's like a Star Trek one. You explore
each
every
one isn't the
part of the
same.
quadrant.
Yeah.
Anyway, when I was a younger kid, and I would have to say
Blade?
10
Hope that's not Wesley
or
Snipes.
11 years old.
Keep going, keep going.
Well, the reason I bring that up is because I've had.
I feel like I'm at a restaurant looking at a menu. I'll take this one.
I'll eat that one.
Oh, good choice, sir. Good choice.
Yeah. Go with the bunghole. Go with the calamari. It's salty.
I don't want to get a yeast infection.
So when you were about 10.
Anyway, well, when I was about 10 years old, we lived in this farmhouse. It was between kind of Medford, Abbotsford area, and I had these visions when I was younger, and I felt like they were dreams. Like no, they weren't really happening. And there's a very gray line between.
Something pop up on your computer?
Yeah. Hold on.
Stop recording.
Yeah.
How long ago did I do that? That just happened.
I just noticed it now when Irv moved his head.
Probably not for long.
Not very long. Yeah, it's all right. I can
Okay.
pull everything off. Anyway, so when I was younger, I was about 10 years old. We used to live in this farmhouse, and it only happened in the farmhouse. So there's a gray line between spiritual and sci-fi, but it's something that scared me. And when Batteries Not Included came out,
Yep.
it kind of reminded me of that. Of course, you're gonna grab the fleshlight.
Well, you've been talking about it all day.
Yeah. I mean, every other word is fleshlight.
So-
For God's sakes from you.
So I remember these vivid, like extreme vivid dreams, and physically I would end up in different rooms because of it. But I would kind of wake up and things in the room were flying back and forth. And I had in the bedroom that I had when we lived in Dorchester, I would have to say it was like 20 by 25. It was a huge farmhouse.
Sure.
Very, very, very big room. We used to play basketball in the room. And we used to have this Jordan jumper in the corner, and we'd play
Sure.
basketball. We'd bounce the balls off the wall.
No,
and
that's the house that you went upstairs to look like the Amityville Horror with
Yeah.
millions of dead flies.
flies
That was like an
everywhere.
apartment upstairs
Yeah.
that wasn't being used.
Yeah.
Mm.
And I used to sit on the front porch, and I'd whistle the grass, and the partridges would come up, you know. Anyway, so I'm in this house, and I, like I said, vividly remember shit flying all over the place. Now, I had a really basic cot, of a bed. It wasn't a bed. It was a cot. It was a metal springs,
military cot, right?
military type cot. Yeah. And I actually still have the wooden side table. It's a 3-drawer side table, and pretty much that's all I had in my room was that, and then my closet. But I remember shit flying across the room, just back and forth, back. I mean, it would scare me as a kid, being 10 years old, and I would climb under the bread.
Climb under the bread. Do you used to protect?
I'd make sure I butter it.
You know what?
So I slide easier.
Hey, you've done this how many times to me? I'm getting back to you. It's very
so
good.
when you're in your
nice
bread
to do this. Yeah, when you were under your bread, what happened?
It's buttery and nice.
It's a loaf.
It's a
loaf.
It's a loaf.
I'm having a loaf of a time. Anyway, I would hide under the bed, and the blanket on the bed would cover me, and I kind of just try to zone
jelly?
out. And every now and then I would peek my head on, and the shit would fly over the place. And I would literally climb on my hands and knees from my bedroom to my mom's bedroom, and I'd get kind of woken up from my mom and her boyfriend at the time, and they'd be yelling at me, like, why the fuck are you sleeping in the bedroom? You know, shit's going on.
That's why there were things thrown. She was throwing shit on her head all the fucking time.
Go to your own bed.
This only,
Seriously.
so
Go to your
this
own
only
bread.
happened one time.
No, this happened about a dozen times, but it was only it happened in that location most of the time, and it only happened once in another location. And that was the trailer in Rapids. But
maybe you pull it with you.
You want to talk about scary as a kid? I mean, it really scared you because you had no
Poltergeist.
control of what was going on, and I felt like
Carol Ann.
my bed was
Don't go in. Or go to the light, I mean. Don't go to the light.
Go to the light, Carol Ann.
Go to the light. We don't want you anymore. Go to the fucking light. Get the fucking light.
I did not come out of my bed with slime all over me.
That's like pink.
Because you didn't go into the light.
And I wasn't eating chicken legs. Because every time I think of that movie, I think of chicken legs.
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
Picking his face off.
Oh, God, yeah.
Okay. There's another one, see? But that goes spiritually. But anyway, so those are the types of things that scared me because I really felt physically that shit was flying all over the room. And it scared the living shit out of me. And that was the most alien thing I've ever experienced in my life. Other than that, an unidentified flying object.
That was a piece of bread.
No, the loaf.
Yeah.
The loaf.
Well, you know,
the
I'm
loaf is on fire.
thinking about it. You know,
We
when
don't
you
need
said
no
something
water.
about dreams.
Let the loaf fucking burn.
Something about dreams that scared you.
Yeah.
I always had that fear of, you know, when you're dreaming and something's big chasing you, like some big creature, that you seem like you slow down and can't get away quick enough.
I've been there.
And it feels like your legs don't work. It's like you keep falling over. It's like, I know how to run.
Or if you look up and the sky is bright and you can't look up, so you're always looking down.
And this fucker's like inches away from getting me, but I end up getting up and running away far enough away and then I fall down again. It's like, I don't get that.
Do you remember the time that my mom and grandma found me sleeping in Lee's Olson's car?
I heard about it. Yeah, you slept, walked all the way.
I remember. Now, shortly after we moved from Dorchester, we moved into this trailer in Rapids in the what's it the trailer court there?
Woodlawn Heights.
Woodlawn Heights, and so I had the same experience once in that trailer. Now, shortly thereafter, I had that experience, and I left the trailer. I left the house, and you know the Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, and you got the big wall.
Yep.
All right. So I walk out of the trailer and I get on the road, and same experience. Every time you try to move faster, everything's want to catch up with you. It wants to get you. And if you slow down, everything slows down.
Psychologically, there's.
Okay, I don't want to get there yet. Let me tell my story. So I get out in the road, and I have the Indiana Jones ball behind me. And the faster I move, the faster it moves. And I had to slowly tippy-toe at fucking 3 o'clock in the morning all the way from one circle on the trailer court to the other circle on the trailer court where my grandma and my uncle lived. And I finally got there, and I crawled in the car, and I fell asleep. And I so vividly, I can see it to this day, this ball just right there. And I know the feeling when you want to move fast, everything want to It feels like it's gonna eat you and hurt you.
But that ball when it goes by the circle, it'll go like this. Next time, buddy.
Yeah.
Next time.
And I got this
Quit
gold
tippy toeing.
I got this gold thing in my hand, and it's not hard on. But no, I've had those, and that. Yeah. Fuck.
I very rarely have nightmares. I usually can realize I'm dreaming, stop the dream, and restructure the dream. Because I remember being a little kid and I watched Jaws at too young of an age.
Jaws.
But see, that
and to
totally
this day,
ruined,
I can't swim in open water. It freaks me the fuck out.
See, you're number 2 of all the dreams.
You got a top 10?
The most popular dreams that you have is what you guys were talking
about. You
about.
got a top 10?
No.
All right.
It's being chased and you can't get away, and the other one about water. Them are the top 2 dreams that happen the most.
Okay.
Being chased.
Well, let him tell him a story. Hold on. Let him tell him a story. He's talking about Jaws.
But when I was a kid, I remember having the dream. I fell in the water and there were sharks. And I remember stopping the dream and going, okay, this isn't right. I'm having a dream. And I restructured it so that I was on a playground at the bottom of the ocean, and sharks were just kind of swimming around, and they couldn't get to me. So that was like one of the weird dreams.
So you were in
that
a
I had
bubble.
Yeah.
But there was
it was like in a playground under the sea.
You, but
Yeah, it couldn't get to me because I kind of stopped and restructured the dream.
And Sebastian's going, don't worry, Brad.
For some reason, I was thinking SpongeBob.
God, that would have been like late 70s, a little before that.
Yeah.
But I was definitely under
Jaws,
the sea.
I think Jaws had an imprint on average.
Oh yeah. I don't.
I mean, seriously,
in the ocean. I really don't like.
Well, even Mark Wahlberg says that's one of the movies that scared him.
But you know, lately going in the ocean, I mean, because there's been more and more shark attacks, and they don't know if it's because of the way the warmer temperatures and everything else, or the way the currents are changing, and it's pushing the sharks more closer to, the shores. And that's why there is. I mean, there's so many different theories.
People go into them.
Well, it even makes you want to think about not even going in fresh water too, because you hear bull sharks sometimes can get in.
Them are the only ones
swimming in the Mississippi.
Well, we've done that.
Yeah, I made that mistake. I'm never swimming in the Mississippi.
Yeah. But the dream about being chased, though, it's one of the most common reported dreams, mostly because it's the feeling of anxiety.
Yeah, but but there's a difference between that thing that's chasing you.
That's not the point. You could have anything chasing you, but it's called the chasing dream.
All right.
That means you're being chased by something, someone, or something.
I've been chased by alligators and snakes.
But it's the anxiety that you have through the day. If you're feeling, and it makes it, because the anxiety we feel in the dream is so vivid, and it makes it easier for us to remember them. Often the reason for these dreams comes not from the fear of actually being chased, but rather what we're running from.
Yeah.
Chase dreams help us to understand that we may not be addressing something in our waking lives that require our attention. That means that means there's something in your life that has to be attended to immediately. You're not doing it, and the dream is telling you have to get it done. And that's what the chasing dream is.
Or you need to realize that this is going on, and
right. And it's just your subconscious mind saying,
I need to find my fleshlight.
Well,
yes. Exactly. That'll reduce your anxiety, rubbing one out.
And then yeah, exactly.
Well, you already had
said it that way, but all right.
But then the water dream is the water frequently represents our emotions or our unconscious minds. The quality of the water, clear versus cloudy, calm versus turbulent, often provides insight in how we effectively manage our emotions. You know, it's a big emotional.
You have an emotional aspect.
It's a big emotional. How emotional things happen in your life. And apparently, I mean, with your son and that.
Yeah, but this was when he was a kid. He didn't have a kid yet.
Oh no.
Yeah.
No, I still I think I just told you recently about the dream where I was in a car and I ended up going underwater, but it was Alex and I too.
So your worst nightmare is always in water, huh?
Yeah.
But they also have vehicles. They have the vehicles as number 3 though for dreams.
Yeah, well, like in the dream that I just had, we were able to get around it because there were like air hoses. So it was like we used the air hoses.
Oh, you did the 007 thing, huh?
Sort of. But no, they were like actual God. it had like a mouthpiece where you could actually kind of put it in your mouth, kind of
a regulator.
teeth. Yeah, sort of a regulator hose
pull it from the sky, kind of.
But it
like?
was kind of hanging down. It was like
So,
we were underwater, in a structure.
Okay.
And in the ceiling, these hoses sort of drop
So the
down.
only way to survive is to suck the weed.
Is to keep basically breathing through these rebreathers until I figured out how to get Alex and I out of that.
Out of the vehicle?
No, it was like
water.
It was we were like underwater.
In the vehicle, in the water.
Yeah, well, that's how I got underwater. Was
In the
like
first-
going down some steps in the car backwards. It was really fucked up.
So, ass backwards.
But then it wasn't at like the end of the dream. I found that there was a section that was away from the structure that was under the water, and there was actual ice, and I had like a hammer with me, so I was able to break that out and push him out of the hole, and then I was able to climb out, and then I woke up.
That'd mess up.
I have like the cast of thousands, like Ben-Hur fucking dreams.
Those are
It's
movies,
also,
man.
They are.
Well, the
They
one with vehicles, this is the number
If
third
you
one.
could finance a dream, would you do it?
Yeah.
I would do
But
it.
this is interesting though with the vehicle one. It says whether a car, plane, train, or other ship, the vehicles in our dream can reflect the direction we feel in our life is taking and how much control we think that we have over the path that's ahead of you.
If I'm driving a Pinto and you're driving a Cadillac, I think your dream is better than
Vehicles.
mine.
I had a Pinto wagon. I love that car.
But it doesn't make any difference the size of the vehicle.
Gremlin.
It just says the vehicles can give us the
Tell
power.
that to her.
But it says the vehicle can give us the power to make the transition and the evasions of ourselves getting to our destination,
It's our
or it
confidence.
highlights the obstacles that we think that we are facing that need to be worked on
It's the confidence.
in your waking life.
It makes sense.
Hmm.
That's why you guys
Conveyance to a destination.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
Something that you need to really work on, or or if you're working on it, you have to get back and work on it and get through it.
No. And I think that was around the time that I pissed off a bunch of people in the autism community. So yeah,
Fuck them.
Well, it was kind of an interesting situation, but completely off topic. So
We've been off topic all day.
We've been jumping around.
It goes back and forth. It goes back and forth.
Do you have any kind of vivid dreams yourself, Messa?
Yeah.
I do, but I don't remember them for long after I wake up. They're nothing that really stick with me.
Yeah.
Why?
I wonder why that is, because I can't remember half the stuff either.
And sometimes maybe later in the day, like somebody will say something that'll trigger, like, oh hey,
A memory or something.
I remember that from the dream, but then like an hour later, totally gone again.
Yeah.
So I don't know why that is. I just assume it's in a different part of the brain that has like maybe short-term memory
different type of
versus
sleep
long-term memory.
Well, I know somebody was saying, or read or whatever, and he's talking about if you have a really explicit or a vivid dream or something like that, when you first wake up, try to get it on paper or record it immediately, because they said after so long, it's hard to recall or remember anything of that dream.
You know, I almost did that one time. I actually woke up and it was like movie type shit, and it's like I ran into the office to go jot it down. I sat down. It's like, fuck, I can't remember how this went now.
Well, because
I lost it.
Brad ended up having a dream like a year ago, and he like recorded it. He was talking about the dream and has it on his Google Play, and he shared it with me so I could listen to the dream. It's like, hey, I'm sending you this file that I recorded earlier when I woke up about this dream that I had.
You talk in your sleep?
No, he actually physically woke
No, he
up.
physically woke up
like
and
right
was
after
like,
I woke up,
I have to record this
I have to
dream.
record it because it was really, really
vivid.
Man, if he can sleep record, that'd be cool. That'd like a podcast.
Oh, no, man, my wife tells me that there's sometimes where I'm so restless that she can listen to me talk and.
Oh, you.
If you're, I mean, most of the time, if you're
overtired,
overtired, I mean, if some people get really overtired, they do a lot of talking and there's a lot of they get.
Fuck, I was carrying a conversation with you and I didn't realize you were fucking sleeping.
Yeah, it's been done. I've done it.
I sleep with my eyes open if I get overtired.
Really?
Like
my kid does
when,
that. That
when
bothers
my
me.
ex, when my ex-wife, I think it was like.
I hate that.
Sexy sleeping.
It was right after my ex-wife and I were married. It was like that. Like the winter after that, we the group of us got together like to celebrate Freaksmas, our sort of Christmas and gathering all the old college friends together. And I was really tired, and I went into like the secondary living room in this house, and I just sat down and I fell asleep. And I woke up, probably like an hour or two later, and Joyce came over and she's like, yeah, Todd came over and said he was having a conversation with you. And Joyce had come into the room, and I was sitting there, and my friend Todd was talking to me, and he was talking to me because my eyes were open, but I wasn't really, just kind of there. And Joyce looks at him, and this is while I was asleep, and said, he's asleep, right? He's like, no way.
No way.
And he like this, and I didn't move or anything, and he's like, that's really fucking creepy. She's like, yeah, you should live with that.
Did he say how long he was talking to you before?
I
Joyce
don't
kind
think
of
I
made it
could
sound like
handle
it was
that.
like 10 minutes.
I would have to find a pair of sunglasses and put them on you and say, I don't even want to see
It's
that.
like Weekend at Bernie's.
Exactly. Exactly.
I mean, there will be times where I'll wake up and I know that I've slept with my eyes open because I'll close my eyes and
they hurt?
It's like sandpaper.
I was going to say, they probably dry
and then
out.
I remember one time moving my eyes to the right, and one had more liquid than the other, so it moved, and the other one kind of slowly moved position.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh god, that was so wrong.
What the hell?
That was creepy.
Yeah, no, it is. And I feel bad for her the day that she's like, I remember my ex saying that the first time she witnessed it, she poked me to make sure I was not dead because I was laying there and I wasn't really making any noise.
Well, I mean, as long as I
eyes
know that you sleep with your eyes open, that's
He's
fine.
the guy in the movie where the fly jumps on the eye and he walks around.
Just walks around. Oh, because I
everything's
remember
dead.
in
that
high
the
school
Yes
being
Man
in
movie?
band and having a bandmate that would fall asleep with his eyes open, and we were like, oh my gosh, that's so weird. But we would all kind of do this, and
That's weird.
we're
Wonder
like,
it's
oh,
just-
Brady's asleep.
Just because your muscles just don't act right on your eyes or
six
something?
No,
problem
it's
shutting his
no. I mean, I will go to sleep. I will close my eyes. But that said, if I'm really tired and I'm driving my car, I don't think that my eyes necessarily close. It's just things go black,
Yeah.
and then I'll
So you can zone stuff out, basically.
yeah. Oh yeah.
The thing I hate is that, I go to sleep, my mouth is shut, and I wake up, and my mouth is wide open. It's like I'm trying to catch.
That's common. That's
I hate
common with a
that.
lot of
That's
people.
very common.
It's like,
That is.
I should tape it.
It usually happens when I'm on an airplane.
Next thing you know, you got drool
No,
coming down the corner of your mouth.
My son pissed me off one time.
Oh, God.
We were going down to. Where the hell were we gonna go? We're gonna go.
Oh, the visions.
Yeah, isn't that something?
I think we were heading down to see like an MMA fight or whatever. I had my son with me, and my son was in the middle, my wife was on one side, and I was in the back seat with her, and we were in the back seat, and it was a long drive, and we ended up both nodding off, me and wife. So my son grabbed his phone, started recording us, and here my mouth is wide open. My wife's same way, and then he records it and sends it to his girlfriend, and he's like sitting there giggling on his phone. It's like, you little jerk.
Oh, it was awesome. I did a study abroad thing over in the UK, and all the people in the van, if they fell asleep, I was like, click. It'll be included in the DVD at the end of the field trip. It's great.
I suppose you gotta laugh at it then.
And there'll be a test afterwards.
There's a quiz.
Yeah, quiz.
What were you dreaming when you were doing this?
Mouth always pops open. I don't know.
I just, for me, it's
I
always
just-
poorly timed. I'm on a flight and somewhere in public, so I'm like, ugh.
I think I breathe more through my mouth than my nose anyway, really, when I'm sleeping.
For me, it depends if I have allergies or a cold or something.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
All congested and everything.
If you could have one alien.
Oh, I'd be screwed if there's a facehugger running around. It'd be like easy access.
Oh, he's sleeping. Right in there.
He must want me to do it.
His mouth is wide open.
Yeah, but he takes that. But he takes that pretty honestly because mom does the same thing.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
She'll nod off and wide open.
You imagine two facehuggers talking to each other? Should I? Just like beckoning me over.
Dude, I saw that face first. I'm sticking my dick in it.
Shotgun.
Yeah. It would just say, look at that hole. It's very inviting.
Okay, I'll do it.
Oh, you're about 3
Take
inches
each
on
ear.
4. You got it. Oh, yeah, rock, paper, scissors.
Man.
they could try something different. They could be like earmuffs.
Yeah, oh, there you go.
It was
In the
consensual.
ears.
He had his mouth open.
Ears, and they all comes them out. They're all going. If you could have one alien power, what would it be? We'll end
Alien
the show
power?
On this. Yeah, we'll end the show on alien power.
Yeah,
alien power. Something an alien has that you want to do. Not to cause
I didn't know.
Probably
what kind of powers are you talking?
Cloaking
power, invisibility,
like
kind
a predator.
Yeah.
Like Predator, cloaking. All right.
That's the only one that really had powers.
No, they all have powers.
A lot of them usually have like telepathy too, where they can read your mind.
I mean,
speak to somebody.
I don't want to read people's minds, but I want to be able to move stuff with my mind. So telekinesis.
Fire starter.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, that's alien.
Or carry.
Start thinking.
Wow.
That is.
Alien
I just
power.
don't.
If you had a power that was alien.
If it was a power granted by aliens, I'd go with like the Green Lantern ring.
Ah, now you're going
Yeah.
comic book.
Yeah, I'm
All
going comic book.
right.
So you go back to the nostalgic stuff here.
Yeah.
I never even thought
Yeah,
of that
because
one.
you could
That's a good one.
just do whatever you want with a ring like
using
that.
So
real
are
power,
you
yeah.
more partial to the green or yellow?
They actually made a cool sort of change to the structure in that whole thing, where I'll try to sum this up quickly.
No,
There
was
was the Green Lantern, right?
Yeah.
Which is the will. Now, if you look at like the spectrum of light, Roy G. Biv, G is in the center. So what they ended up doing then is making essentially a ring for each color in the spectrum, and they made it so it's like emotional based. So yellow deals more with
like a mood ring.
with
anger.
Well, actually, red.
Red is probably the most.
Red goes.
anger,
Red goes
more-
to rage.
Yeah, rage. Yeah.
Yellow is fear. Orange is
okay.
greed. Green is will. So it's sort of the
Okay.
balancing point.
Okay.
Blue is hope.
Okay.
Indigo is healing, and violet is love. Because you had the Star Sapphire that had like the violet power, and that they kind of changed it so it was a ring, and the ones on the outermost, like the rage, is uncontrollable rage, and the violet, they're just
the most distant from each other.
crazy women that are all about love, and
They
it's
gotta
like
be women.
well, in this particular case, they had chosen females. There really didn't seem to be any male Violet Lanterns.
No, this was actually in the comic.
Yeah, they actually did this within the past 5 years.
Oh, yeah, I had no idea.
So they had like this huge ring war, and then they had like there was a Black Lantern, which was death.
Oh.
Like, and they actually, the power there was resurrecting the dead and using them as an army, which is
I think
really
if they,
messed up.
I heard they're supposed to be doing another one of those. That would be kind of cool if they actually incorporated all that into that.
Yeah, but they want to bring it into the whole spectrum of all the characters.
Yeah, boy, with the movie they would have to kind of like start over, because the first Green Lantern movie did not
from now
go
until
over
2020,
well.
they've got all the movies are.
That's gonna.
Well,
be
I'd rather
interesting.
watch Green Lantern over Superman 3 any day.
Yeah.
Or 4.
Yeah.
Just I don't care if Richard
There's nothing
Pryor's in
wrong
it or
with
not.
Richard Pryor.
I didn't say there's anything wrong with Richard
Come
Pryor. That was a
on.
shit movie, really.
No,
Let's
the
make
quest
an
for
idiot.
peace.
3 and
was
4
horseshit.
was dumb.
Yeah.
3
That was-
1 and 2, yeah, I'll take, but 3 and
Yeah,
4, you
3
can
and
wipe
4.
your ass with it.
Well,
That's why I got.
Batman went to TV. Batman went to TV, and Superman went to movies, and they fucked it up in the beginning, all around, all the way up until now, because
Superman was in TV as well.
No, he's saying with the movies, but Batman had the TV show with Adam West.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, there's the Superman movies, the black. and
But that
white
was for
Superman
the
movies,
time,
but-
though. That was at that time.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
They thought
Yeah, but
that,
those
that
were
was
pretty good movies, though. I mean, they were pretty good shows on TV. With
I mean, you want to talk about sci-fi? Comics are sci-fi.
Yep.
Yeah, they are.
That's scientific fiction. I mean,
Yep.
That's what it is.
And even graphic novels, some of them are all sci-fi based too. That's where they're getting all these movie
What are
ideas
you
from.
talking about?
Well, like Edge of
Graphic
Tomorrow
Graphic
was.
novels?
Yeah.
Most
Penthouse is not a graphic
Huh?
novel. Just kidding.
We're back to
I
the
said
first one.
Penthouse is not a graphic novel.
it depends on the angle that the photograph's being shot, I
Yeah,
guess.
yeah, yeah. Put that ring on. It's not a cock ring. It's a fucking lantern ring.
It's a lantern.
Zephyr
ring.
and Conquering.
Sorry.
No, it's like the Edge of Tomorrow film that I was talking about earlier
Yeah.
with Tom Cruise. That was based on a Japanese graphic novel called All You Need Is Kill. So they're pulling So graphic novels are really more of a graphical storytelling.
And it seems like a lot of the arts
The
in
Walking
it,
Dead.
art is
The
a
Walking
lot
Dead
more
is
realistic.
kinda
looking.
And the nice thing about like comic books and graphic novels, like
Yeah,
you're
well,
saying, is
Walking
it's
Dead
kind
is
of like
graphic novel.
doing all of the kind of the rough work for shots for a movie. So in a lot of cases, they can use some of that.
They're really
for
building
filming
off
that.
screenshots. They're trying to put a movie in.
It's like a movie board, or not a movie board,
Storyboard.
storyboard. They basically already have everything there. They just copy it.
Yep.
I mean, the guy that directed Watchmen, he basically followed it
Actually,
page, basically.
Yeah, but that was
Sin City was really more like that.
Oh, that one I like. I like Sin City. I like that one.
I remember watching the movie and then going back because I had the graphic novel that was based on and reading that and going, holy shit! They really, I mean, they stuck to that thing.
Yeah,
like,
that's
there's
good.
no tomorrow.
And it's true to what he wanted.
Yeah.
So.
Which is fine. I mean, that's the best part about movies in general when it comes to trying to create something from the sci-fi era.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I mean, if you look at what we grew up with when it came to comic book and sci-fi, and you look at what's theirs now.
Yep.
I mean, our kids are getting, what would you call it, initiated now with the things that are coming out. But I have taken my children back to the past and said, hey, you watch this first and watch this and then see this. And they're like, well, this came from this. And I'm like, no, it came from this.
I mean,
you know?
usually
Family Guy is a big ripoff.
Usually back then when you heard that they were going to make a comic book into a movie, you might as well just guarantee it was going to be a lump of shit.
Well, I remember going to Batman.
I remember that they did have another Fantastic Four movie made before the one that was made.
the Roger Corman film.
Yeah.
Oh god, that is so fucking horrible.
You know what I saw that preview on? A friend of mine let me borrow Flesh Gordon.
Flesh?
Flesh Gordon.
Is it Fleshlight?
It's a parody of Flash Gordon, but it was all sexual based.
Yeah,
he flies in a giant penis.
It was a porno.
And there was a
Flash Gordon.
That wasn't really a porno.
It was kind of like
we're talking.
It was softcore.
It was softcore, but there was a monster had tits
like a
all over
Barbarella
itself.
type version of Flash
But I
Gordon.
saw the preview for that on that movie. I'm going, really? They made
I remember
Fantastic
seeing
Four?
they actually
That's
that
probably why I didn't do so
that
well.
group actually did.
Four flashlights flying at you.
I remember seeing them
One on fire.
Good Morning America.
Yeah.
Doing an interview.
One
Like
looks like a
they were
rock.
about to release the film, and they were on Good Morning America talking about this, and they seemed kind of confused. Like they weren't, I think
They had
in the
no
back
idea.
end they weren't sure it was even going to happen anymore.
Yeah.
But they were obligated to do this promo thing on Good Morning America,
Mhm.
and then they shelved it. Constantine Films just shelved it,
Dropped
and it was
it.
never
Oh.
going to be released. And seeing that on the internet, finally,
It's a good thing,
it was
huh?
just horrible, absolutely horrible.
Yeah,
So
there was
we've come a long way.
Yes,
Absolutely.
yes.
There was one movie that's in my head since I was a kid too. It was a sci-fi movie. I think it was on regular television, but I remember it because we used to live on Cook Avenue, and it was basically the beginning of the movie started with this like scoutmaster or something like that taking all these Boy Scouts out in the wood to explore and everything, and he had to leave to go visit the outhouse or something like that. And there was this creature in there that was like an alien, and it threw these like starfish things at people, and it attached to their face, and it killed them, and it like ate their face off. And I don't remember what this movie is.
What the fuck? I've never heard of
Yeah,
it.
it was something I remember. It was back in like in the early '80s. I mean, this alien would throw these starfish things at people, and it would be like
That
on
was
the
in
face.
the outhouse.
But no, it was actually terrorizing people in a wooded community.
Oh, okay. So it was like a campground community.
Yeah, it was almost like a. It was almost like a
Was it like-
Jason Voorhees type thing, but it was with an
It
alien.
was like a Meatballs 4.
No, it was it was supposed to be a legit scary movie, but I can't remember what it is or whatever. I don't know what the name of it is, and that's always been in my head.
That's probably such a B
It is
movie.
probably right now. It's probably really crappy to today's
Lucky if
standards.
they could find it, maybe.
If I don't know the name of it, it's gonna be hard to find.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of times, if you just type in the description of a particular scene,
It'll give you a.
you can usually find other people that are talking
Mhm.
about it. Because that's what I've done before with movies that I've seen as
Remember
a
this
kid.
Yeah, that's
You
Meatballs.
know, that's Meatballs.
That's
and,
what's it? Then you have like a name like Fart or something like that, or Shithead or
Farthead,
Shithead, Farthead.
Farthead, I think, or Shithead, something like that.
What'd you type in for a keyword?
80s alien camp movies.
Well,
Horror.
Horror movie.
80s alien.
Because if you do camp movies, then you're probably going to end up with like
All this
Terror
bullshit.
Vision
I mean-
and just really campy films.
Yeah. So no, that's
No,
really
they came
gonna.
up, They came up.
I don't know. Like I said, I don't know the name of it, and I don't know.
Seems like Critters is a hell of a...
Dead Alive. Anyway.
Hmm.
We're going to find out what that is.
Yeah, we'll have to go through the list and see if it
I
even.
think I might have found it.
Oh,
he's going to IMDb or DB.
Well, I did a Google search, and
Okay.
What do you think it is?
without warning,
Um.
an alien creature stalks human prey. 1980. Jack Palance, Martin Landau.
Jack Palance.
Let's see.
Without warning.
Go video.
Trying to.
That's it.
That's it right there?
That is it. Awesome. Now let's watch it.
Well, that's
And
a full
I
movie
typed
right
in
here.
here's
That's
On the YouTube.
1994.
That's a full movie right here.
That's 94 though. Yep. That's not it. That was 1980.
Nope. This is I use alien starfish face eat.
Wait, which one
There
was
we go.
The hunting season has begun.
without warning
But the
the
hunter isn't human.
This is it here. This is the one here.
Yes, that's it.
This is it.
Motherfucker. Yeah, that's it.
It came without warning.
Came without warning.
Like nothing on this earth.
Our friends are dead.
Oh, that was
Beyond any known terror.
Caruso from
All he's thinking about is kissing
Because
her.
when it leaves this planet, no one may be left.
CSI,
alive.
whatever. David Caruso was in there.
Yeah.
They start eating.
That's
You don't come to me for him.
Tall man.
No, that's not him.
No, that's not him. That's not him.
That's not Angus Scrim.
Come on.
Crazy!
Tall man.
No, that's not him.
That's Jack Palance.
Yeah,
That's Jack Palance.
Oh, that's Martin Landau.
Yeah, the other one. Yeah, Martin Landau. Martin Landau.
The hunted.
Jack Palance. Yeah. Yep.
This is cool. Yeah, I remember seeing this when I was a kid. It scared the shit out of me.
David Caruso played the character Tom.
Feeds on human flesh.
That's a part I remember seeing. They turned him around and you had
From
eyes.
deepest space it came. And now, man is the endangered species.
Look at him. He's all starstruck.
Bothered me. I didn't know what the name of it was.
It came without warning. And now it's coming for
Can you
you.
imagine if they remade that now?
I know.
That'd be nice.
The other Without Warning from 1994, I want to say that one was a news a news broadcast of like an alien invasion.
Yes.
And it has I can't think of her name, the mother of like Malcolm in the Middle.
Oh, okay.
And she was one of the newscasters, and they were like,
Patricia
I don't remember her name
That
like
sounds
at
right.
all.
Yeah.
Possibly, but she's in it as one of the newscasters, and for being a low budget thing, it's actually pretty good. I recommend giving it a watch.
That fucking thing.
So
Like I
watch
said,
both of them.
Yeah,
Man, I mean the thing with that starfish flying through the air and catching a
I
people's
remember
face.
that too, though. Now
I
All
just
of a
could not
sudden, when
remember the
I saw
name
that.
of it.
I just remembered that.
I have no. I've
Wow.
never seen that.
I actually thought
That scared the shit out of me when I was younger. But I was on Cook Avenue. I wasn't very old when I was on. Lucky if I was in kindergarten, I think, when I was on. So that would fucking scare any 5-year-old.
Well, go figure something that attaches to your face and fucks your mouth is gonna scare you.
It came without
That was
warning.
our prom theme.
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, we should actually watch that one day.
We should.
That's uncut too, without warning. YouTube.
Yep.
Awesome.
It came.
Well, thanks, Brad. That was
without
awesome.
warning. You're quite welcome.
See, and I kind of fit in with our whole conversation about sci-fi stuff.
Yep.
Yep. Hey, we stayed on task.
Oh.
All right. Yeah.
No more flashlight.
Circle jerk of a conversation. There's always a flashlight involved.
Sharing is caring.
Yes.
You know that
Yeah.
that alien thing.
And if you have an issue, Here's a tissue.
Didn't that alien thing kind of look like a gray in a way?
Yeah,
it almost reminded me of the alien from Aliens. It was kind of sucked your face, you know.
Oh, the thing you threw, the weapon.
Yeah, the face
That was like his weapon. Yeah.
Yep.
Well,
Greys are a
That's
very
cool.
popular alien.
Well, promote yourselves real quick. Everything you got.
The galacticnetcasts.com is where you can find the Alien Invasion podcast, and you can also find Sci-Fi Geeks Club, and we're going to be actually looking to launch another show here pretty soon once I get my damn studio put together.
Oh.
I just have to build the table. So you guys have
Can we christen your table?
Not
with a fleshlight.
Oh, I was gonna say, as long as you bring the lube, Irv, I guess.
you know what? We could actually do a drinking game with this podcast. As many times it says fleshlight, you have to do the shot.
Halfway through, people are gonna be.
People be unconscious and their stomach.
Another one.
I've been drinking those whole time. I'm not unconscious.
Not everybody has your liver, though. I'm
Yeah,
guessing.
very true, very true.
You can almost eat that thing and get drunk.
I put 4 extra ones in there.
With some fava beans and I think Chianti.
Chianti.
I had a
out
bad
of your
dream one
liver.
time, an alien took my liver, and I went and had 4 more put in.
Well, let's let him promote himself here. We interrupted
So,
him.
galacticnetcasts, plural.com. Yep.
Jason.
And you can find us on Google Plus and Facebook and Twitter and
Anything personal?
YouTube.
Anything personal?
Personal.
Blogs?
Right now, I'm writing a blog on Tumblr. It's spectrumforce5.tumblr.com.
That's a good one.
Okay.
Yeah, I kind of trotted out my old stuff, and I'm going to be starting to write new stuff here starting next week. So
That could double as an action movie title.
Spectrum Force 5.
5.
Yep. I know. I was like, I got to write something about autism, and I'm like, well, I wrote this when Alex is in 5th grade, and I'm looking at this, and I'm like, Anessa and I are a couple. My ex-wife has a boyfriend, and we've got Alex, so that's 5 of us. So it just kind of worked,
very
and
witty.
Talking about
Very nice.
autism.
So
being
what
on
are
the
your
spectrum,
superhero characters? That's a whole other show. Anyway.
That's a podcast
I
for
could
another
go
day.
all day long. So you got that, Anessa? You got anything? Anything special other than the Galactic Netcast?
Netcast?
Netcasts. Not really. I mean, I just post random crap on Twitter.
Yeah.
At
What's your Twitter
Mooyeens,
handle?
MOOYEENS. I have a Tumblr. I just haven't really started posting anything about it or on it. The idea was to kind of post about my experiences and lessons that I've learned with moving across the country, and eventually it would end up being how I handle northern winters. And kind of here's what you don't do.
Were you here last winter?
She was here for the first polar vortex.
Oh,
yeah, that's not a good way to be.
You got a
introduced.
taste of the worst.
Yeah, that's what I heard, but I kept myself entertained with boiling hot water, throwing it up in the air.
I'm like, we have to make snow. And she's like, what? I'm like, here, I'm going to get some boiling water. And we went out the backyard.
Yeah, that's one thing I've never done. I've seen it on internet.
It's so much fun.
My boys will go grab a cup every now and then. They don't think about it. They go grab a cup of water. They walk out and they throw it. And like, what the fuck?
Gotta boil it first for it to work.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's basically what it's gonna be. But
every week you guys can check these
Yeah.
two beautiful souls out
So-
on the Galactic Netcast.
we just do our podcast.
She's the pretty one. I'm not. So
It depends on who's looking at you.
Yeah,
that's
it
true,
depends.
too.
Beauty is in the eye of the beholder.
But yeah, we usually do our shows live on Wednesday or Thursday evenings. You can check our.
You guys
social
ever
media
take guests?
We do on the Sci-Fi Geeks Club. We
Alright.
take guests, so it's.
We can cut our language down and not talk. Like
Yeah,
we do
actually,
it
I think
here.
so.
and
We'll
if we
have
don't
to-
say fleshlight
We'll talk
every 10
to Dave.
minutes.
What do you mean we?
Did you guys see the alien fleshlight?
What do you mean?
Got an
You
H.R.
mean you?
Geiger
I'm
feel
talking
to
about
it.
me because I know you fuckers won't do it.
No, yeah, we'll definitely talk to
Yeah,
Dave
we'll
about
talk to
that.
Dave and see what we can
All
hook
right,
up.
man. I'd love to join I've done the spoiler room with Mark and all that
Yep.
stuff, so I can call.
Oh
pull it
God,
back.
yeah, I
I
forgot
call it
about
back
that.
up,
That's
pull it
another one that.
Yeah, July 3rd. Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah, July 3rd.
July
Thursday.
3rd.
Yeah.
Irv and I will be doing the spoiler room.
Yes.
You've got a long
We're
day
going to
of
be talking about
Yeah, it's
the
gonna be a long day.
Secret of Nymph and the Last Unicorn and the Disney's the.
You say nymph or nim?
Nim.
Nim.
Yeah.
That's what I said.
I thought it was a sequel of like Little
I
Fairies.
speak Irv. I know
Water
what you're
nymph.
talking
You
about.
get it. You get it. And then
the Black
Disney's
Hole
on
is the
Black
only
Hole,
one
yeah.
that I've
I haven't
seen out
seen
of
it.
those other two.
I haven't seen it.
That one, oh god, talk about freaky movies. I saw that when I was a kid.
Is that the Disney one?
Yeah.
That was like a
Okay.
really.
That was in the office for
Should
the
we save
longest
it?
time. I never
Should we
got around
save
to
it for
watching
the
it.
spoiler room.
Well, just talking about sci-fi.
Okay.
That's like one of the most expensive Disney films ever made.
Really?
They lost so much money making that film. It's ridiculous.
It's almost like the
It
Lone
must have
Ranger
came out.
recap.
It must
huh?
have came out after the.
It was very early 80s.
It was
What's that
1980,
one?
I think.
Yeah.
Witch Mountain. It kind of came out
Escape
around
to Witch Mountain.
I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, Escape
It must
from.
have came. Yeah, right after.
And then they had
were
Return
looking-
as well, but
Yep. The Return was when they went to the Witch Mountain. Escape from is the sequel that they did. I saw that as a double bill at the drive-in theater.
Oh really?
1979.
In what?
The Black
Oh
Hole.
yeah.
And it
1
was,
years old I was.
what was it?
I was negative.
I was negative.
Food of the Gods was the opening movie, which was
That's with rats, right?
well, yeah,
the Food of the
scientists create some food things, and then they give it to these rats and whatever, and they grow huge, and yeah, it was a terrible movie. But then the follow-up movie, the second movie was the Black Hole. So I like slept through the first movie because I was like, I think I was 10 or 9, and I'm wearing my pajamas in the car. We had like a grocery getter essentially, and
it was almost like a mini house anyway. Those cars are so big.
Yeah, and then I slept in the back, and they're like, okay, the Black Hole's starting. I'm like, okay. And I remember.
So you woke up for the good movie.
Well, I remember seeing the last part, and it's like they managed to kill off the large rats, and they're decomposing, and then the cows are drinking the water.
That was the first movie.
Yeah, it was like the end of the first movie. I'm like, what is this? Huge dead rats, and they're dying and decomposing.
Rewind.
And the kids are drinking the milk from these cows. What did I miss?
It seems like such an odd.
It
Double
was a
feature.
weird double
It's like
feature.
you got a scary movie and a Disney movie. It's
Well, I
almost
think
like
that they just went with sci-fi. Fuck it.
Really?
They just threw those two together. That was
almost
messed
like
up.
it's almost like playing like Hostel and then.
Have you ever gone to a drive-in?
Yeah, I've gone to drive-in.
Last movie you saw.
I'm fucking older than you are. I've been to drive-in.
Last movie you saw a drive-in.
Oh man.
I know Rambo 3.
I'd have to say it was a double feature.
Yeah,
Fast and the Furious and Jurassic Park 3.
Oh,
were the
you went to
last.
Wausau then, yeah. See, last one
And my battery died because I didn't know you had to turn it on occasionally.
I
so
was
you
6
didn't
years
lose
old,
battery.
and it was Rambo 3 and what was a scary movie. It was something. I can't remember the scary movie. I fell asleep. No, I was 8 years old.
You can't give me shit about
Yeah, I
falling
give you
asleep.
shit.
We went to see the midnight matinee here in town to go see Beverly Hills Cop 3. He lasted 2 minutes.
Well,
yeah, it was. He probably had a good idea to go to
we
sleep.
went to see Time Cop, and at the time we had friends that were working at the movie theater.
Okay.
And they brought beer out to us, and we're getting drunk, and I was probably 15 years old, and I'm 3 years younger than him. And all of a sudden I see what's his name?
Some guy.
Cop.
Oh, Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Van Damme fly through a window because he got shot. Yep. And I go, yeah, he had his life jacket on. And I'm thinking Bolton, And I yelled it out in the theater. I'm like, yeah, he had his life jacket on.
Nice.
You meant bulletproof vest.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Six looks at me, he's like, you fucker. The best things happen at the movies. It doesn't matter what it is, whether it's sci-fi, horror, right?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
We wouldn't gather around this table tonight if it wasn't for movies or the imagination.
Yeah, I think
of
that's something that brings a lot of people together, though.
Yeah.
Any movies, games, anything like that.
I'm looking forward to all the new Star Trek movies coming on. I hate to say it, but I like the new ones that are coming. I like J.J. Abrams' aspect on what's going on. So
Like I said,
and I'm looking forward to the Star Wars.
Like I said before, I mean, if a guy can take something he really didn't like and turn it into something that good, and then now he's actually getting his hands on the Star Wars franchise, that's something he loves.
Yep.
So imagine how it's probably going to be 100 times greater than what we had before.
Well, the fact that they're using practical effects, they're not really going to rely so much on CGI. That's huge.
Like, talk about bringing it back to the original.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody's seen the picture of the Millennium Falcon online, and who doesn't get a hard on?
Yeah.
Or get wet?
I mean, what?
Well, she doesn't.
Not me.
Well, he's the one dreaming about water.
Yeah, Millennium Falcon. I mean, what?
Right over there.
That's right.
We'll just leave you two alone.
All right.
I think it's time to pull out.
I think maybe we should pull out.
That's what she said.
It's been an honor, guys. It was good to have you on.
Yeah, no,
Yeah, thanks for having
even
us
if
on.
ever want to come back, I mean, you want to have to talk about sci-fi, we just circle jerk it. So, and
Sounds good.
Granted, we didn't really stick with the whole scheme like we planned on. We're jumping around
Well,
quite
mostly.
a bit,
I'd say 80% of the show.
Yeah.
75, maybe
but
70.
10% flashlight.
30% flashlight. You can never go minimum of 30.
But you know, if you were getting paid by that company, it'd be different.
It'd be 90.
You're a big promo guy.
Say goodbye, guys. Wave.
No more
All
flashlight.
right. Go watch a sci-fi movie.
I gotta go watch It Came Without Warning.
There we go.
Almost sounds like a porno title, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It really does.
That sounds like every sexual experience I've ever had.
You want the back sign?
I'll fucking sign around the face. I don't give a shit.
Right on the forehead.
Yeah, why not on the forehead? I'm down with that.
One in each eye socket and one on the forehead.
Oh, we would need a silver pen.
Yeah,
I tell you what, just leave room for my flashlight.
We'll mount it under the.
You know, I'm going to take that flashlight and I'm going to shove it up
You
your
don't even
ass.
know where it is. I hit it so nobody can steal it again because I lost my first one.
That was
Literally.
That was your
Literally.
mistake.
You want to put Irv in my signature.
Why don't we stick with the show? Go with her.
I'll go Irv.
I didn't ask him. I just did it.
Go ahead. I just artistically, I'll show you the other room too.
Sure.
Who's that? Yeah.
No, it's ERV. fucker.
Don't forget to sign the wall.
Yep, I gotta send them.
Yeah, put your name on the wall. Ah,
Very cool.
what a great
Thank
show!
you, guys.
I had a blast.
Oh, that was
I may
really
be
cool.
fucking drunk, but still, I had a good
You know,
time.
and like with that show with Brian Brushwood that we did, it was one of those things where I look at probably one of the hardest shows that we had to get through was the one with Jackie, but that was because she had probably power drank before she started, and then it just like her conversation and everything just really started to slide. But then with Brian Brushwood, there was just like you get that chemistry where you get that guest or somebody in and you talk and
They
it's
know
just
how to
really
talk.
fucking interesting.
See,
And it just
that's the thing that
flows.
we run into is when you
I
have
didn't
certain
experience
guests.
Jackie.
Like, I mean, the closest experience is Jack's Secret, the last band that we had on.
Yeah.
They were so right to the point with every answer
Yeah.
that there was no stimulation for conversation. So it was like,
It's
all
hard
right,
to
we
get a
gotta
hook
push
to
it.
pull it,
We
yeah.
gotta
Oh,
push
we
it.
were trying to throw fucking hooks out for
I
him
kept-
in, and he just wouldn't.
I kept,
just
and
sharp,
that's,
yeah.
I mean,
You know
other
what?
than the devil's advocate, that's my role is to try
Actually-
to keep the conversation going.
Actually, Mike.
No, I didn't want this
Mike
conversation.
Mike was
to end.
pretty good at it.
He actually kept the conversation going.
Yeah, you did good.
Brenda, you had to kind of, she was a little kind of nervous.
She was
It was
shy,
quick.
I think, a little
It was
bit, but
quick.
So that's the hardest part with
Yeah.
guests.
Yeah.
You got to find the right guest that wants to stimulate the conversation.
I know how it feels. You know, you feel like you don't want no dead air, and it's like, oh my god, the crickets are starting to go.
Yeah, okay, somebody jump in.
Yeah, but you think of dead air, and then when you re-listen to it, it wasn't so bad.
No.
Yeah.
You know, I've had that before too.
Just
It's like
in the moment, it feels like it takes
Well,
forever.
even some of the live shows we've done before, you know, at some of the bars we've done, I thought when we did the recording, oh man, it's gonna suck.
Speaking of, we're trying to set up a Halloween
But actually,
show.
turn out.
It's called Night of the Living Dicks. And
Nice.
We're doing a haunted house.
yeah, we want to do a haunted house in the basement of a bar.
want
Mulligans and rabbits.
We want to take certain
genres
a
and
horror movie iconic characters.
Well, we want to go with the classic. We want to start off like with there's an area. Well, there's an area down in the basement. It's more long, and it's more long than.
It's about twice as wide as this.
Yeah, but it's probably about 30, 35 feet, 40 feet maybe long, and we want to set it up in 4 sections. And what we want to do is we want to start out with the classic.
You come in the back door, you pay $5.
You
walk down, you get a beer, you get 1 beer ticket for walking in. You pay $5. You walk in, you walk down the steps, you come up,
and then you go through 4 rooms.
You come up, and then we have the bar. And then that'll be Friday, and Saturday we'll do a live show.
Yeah.
And we want to talk to people about their horror stories or ghost stories, stuff
like we have, but it's going to start off with one room going to be the early classics like Frankenstein, the Wolfman,
vampire
this stuff here, and then it works its way up in the
So
decades.
we're thinking
in the horror movies, and then the last one try to come up to today's horror.
If we could pay somebody to do Centipede, we would, but that ain't happening.
You ain't gonna. I'll guarantee you ain't gonna get anybody with their face shoved in somebody's ass.
That was a joke.
But you never know. You might get a couple of gay guys to do that.
Jerry?
As long as I'm the first one.
All right, yeah. We have a cousin that's gay, and he likes the show, and he wants to be on a show. Anyway. But... So we're looking to do something like that. So we'd love you guys to come up for that or show up for that. So
that'd be cool. Yeah, just let us know what the dates are, and definitely.
We just want to talk. We don't give a shit.
And we try to do prizes too, if we can.
Okay. Cool.
And we have our normal. We just do our thing, whatever it is,
Last time we got a bunch of Best Buy cards.
Well, I'm gonna see once we get things more established for each one of the rooms, and we knowing where we're gonna go with it. I mean, for the classics, and we're looking.
I haven't.
Gollum.
I haven't.
But come on. But see,
Dude, I'll pay you to do that.
But the big thing of it is that once we know where we are established in the 4 rooms,
Did one of the kids stay?
No, it should be in there.
I have a friend of mine.
Oh.
He works for Infotech in Rapids, and I want him to see if he can donate a tablet.
I had a sweet tooth.
I don't think an iPad, but like an Android tablet for one of the grand prizes.
And he
ain't listening at all.
But
I want to.
That's fine.
For each room though. Because we do the classic, and that can run anywhere from the 20s to the 30s, and you're running the 40s,
we're talking
50s, and then the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s,
Frankenstein, vampire. But then we were talking like Pinhead, and then
because the Pinhead was right around
we got Tank
late 70s, 80s.
Michael Myers. We were talking about Michael Myers. Tank can do that.
Well, yeah, he is built as big as a guy.
Oh, he did it. He's done it before. He'll do it.
But then in the last room before they leave, we want it to be the a good horror, scary one because then they're going to remember that one hopefully for a while after they leave.
I'm thinking Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
No, I don't.
Yeah, you take a chainsaw and you drop the chain.
But that was
what
the original.
And they walk out the fucking door and somebody pops out and it's just like.
But the original Texas that was.
You were talking Pinhead
in the 80s, wasn't it?
Late 70s.
Yeah, but was it 70s? It's progressive through.
Yeah, but they made so damn many of them.
It doesn't matter.
I'm if we're gonna go with horror, I'm gonna go with the first original.
You gonna do Pinhead?
No, I ain't gonna.
Why not?
I'm gonna get fucking pins stuck to my fucking head.
Come on.
Do that shit.
Seriously, I thought about walking in a room with the cube and the chains going everywhere, and then just Pinhead standing in the corner with a strobe light. And you walk in, and it's like, whoa,
Oh, then you just have them follow them.
Just stand there. No, just stand there. Just stand there. That scares them enough. But
then you have somebody on the side just come out and freak the fuck out of them.
You have one that everybody knows.
If you can get like a torn up mattress and have somebody with blood on them, like they're coming down.
Like number 2? Like like number 2. Hellraiser 2.
See, I never watched any Hellraisers. I mean, I know
you haven't watched Hellraisers?
No, I've never watched.
Oh my god!
In the second one, a dude escapes from that hell
through a mattress.
He'd been killed on the mattress. Well, he did it for the first one, I think.
No,
there was a dude in one of them.
It was the mistress from the first one.
Maybe it was the third one that the dude came.
Yeah, the dude came out. That was the uncle.
Yeah,
I've never seen anyone.
Well, no, you're right. No, it's the uncle came out of the second one because the mistress,
came out of
the aunt, was fucking around with him, and she kept bringing guys back to the mattress. Yeah.
I probably won't watch.
But anyways, he comes through. like the blood stains on the mattress.
All you gotta do is get a mattress with blue and white stripes, throw some blood on it.
No, because when it comes to the classic horror, I'll be great.
That's classic.
I'm classic to me is the Frankenstein, the Dracula, and the.
But we're talking progressing 10 years.
I know, but I'm talking about when we do the classic one with vampires or werewolves or mummy or whatever. I'll get that room done because I grew up in that era. I know what them are like, and I know how we can make it that way. But when it goes to something like the Pinhead one, I don't know it. You guys can do it.
Chains and hooks, fish hooks and chains.
And that's what I'm saying. But
you gotta put that fucking thing in your new podcast pad, man.
Oh yeah.
But see, that's what I'm saying. I mean, I'm more.
So everything really. No, I understand.
I'm more efficient with those.
Everything for us really kind of fell into place. Flesh. Everything kind of fell into place. I mean, one day my wife, we're sitting down in the bedroom over there, and it was purple carpet, purple walls. She goes, "Yeah, it's a purple podcast pad." We're like, "Holy shit, that's fucking awesome!" So
I gotta get going. It's almost 10 o'clock.
Yep.
And I have to be up in the morning.
Thank you guys very much. It was good to see you again.
Yeah, do the show again.
Oh shit, anytime. Seriously, if I didn't have to work and I could do it every day of the week.
Yeah, Brad, it was nice seeing you again.
Me too. Vanessa,
it's always a pleasure. Always a pleasure. I'm sorry I'm drunk and I was fleshlighting it up.
Like I said, if we were getting paid,
I didn't realize they had an alien.
But if we got paid for every time.
I know what you're doing tomorrow.
If we got paid for every time we did that, shit, I would love it. We would be made. If they paid us every time you said it. We have to get the sponsorship.
I'll show you the old room.
Oh, watch your step in there. Looks like one of the dogs made a mess. Well, you guys have a good night. We'll talk to you later. Oh, sorry.
Hey, Tina, you shit twice in my floor. Yeah. No, you ain't. He doesn't go in there. Sounds like me, my flesh.
Come on, you so bad boy.